Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's sweet.
Two little turtles have awoken, crying and naked in the moonlight. They look upon a world torn, with no sun to bear them sight. A world shattered appears as they peek out from their den, for it is the outer darkness in which Amy and Riley must descend. This is Turtle Time, and my name is Riley Hamilton.
Oh my God. This is Amy. You know me,
Yes.
hopefully.
Yes.
You must be going through something. That was a interesting tome.
Well, see, here, just a little peek behind the curtain. Outer darkness, is the fifth level of hell or whatever for
Okay.
Mormons. You remember Heather?
Oh, okay.
Heather talks about that the worst thing you can do, the complete absence of like heaven, is outer darkness.
Okay.
That's where bad Mormons go.
It's like Dante vibes.
Total Dante vibes. It's a new, different. It's layers of purgatory, which I had never heard before. But
Whoa.
in I think season 2, Heather describes the levels. The ultimate goal is that you get your own planet populated with all of your
Paradise planet.
Yes. And then there's like a waiting period area where you don't get your full planet, but you're waiting. And then there's one other level, and then the worst level is outer darkness. You have no chance, I think, of being redeemed.
Do you think that there are some Mormons that think that she's going to be there because of her book, Bad
Yeah.
Mormon?
Yeah, she talks about it.
Yeah.
And she says that like even serial killers and whatever other like purely evil people, they have a better chance of being at that third level than her, because
Whoa.
she is a what's it called when she's a renounced Mormon.
Yeah.
She's a
That's like what Scientologists call an SP.
Yes,
A suppressive person.
exactly. It's like the worst horrors are bestowed upon the people who knew the truth, got
And turned their
access to
back.
it, and then turned their back.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And
Our beautiful helper Jimmy is bringing us coffees right now because we were too tired to acquire it ourselves.
this looks amazing. This is awesome. If you're looking on YouTube, we hate to do
Thanks,
visual
helper
stuff.
Jimmy.
Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you, Jimmy. I got a venti iced coffee, 2 pumps of classic syrup, and whole milk
Yes.
as a little bit of a creamer.
Yes. I got my grande ice Americano in a venti cup, extra ice, 2%.
Did they fulfill the extra ice requirement?
Definitely, because it's supposed to be a grande.
Oh, right.
So
Okay. Well, this is amazing. This is truly going to help us out.
this is not Starbucks spawn.
No,
but,
not at all. But
we were bad Mormons last night, and we went out and we had some drinks, and so we're tie today.
yes, that's why we need coffee. We can I say where we went?
Sure.
We went to this bar called Bar Stella, which I've never been to before.
Oh, really?
I've never been there. Had you?
Yeah, it's been a long time though. Yeah, it's in the Silver Lake Junction.
Yes, right by Intelligentsia Coffee.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to
Yeah.
that Silver Lake area, and it was fun. We drank glasses of wine. We danced for a couple minutes, right?
Yeah, they're trying to blast our ears off with this freaking brass music.
Yeah, at a certain point, they wanted us out so bad because we were sort of, what's that called, holding it down till the end. Like it was,
Yeah.
They were just like, they wanted people to leave. So they were blasting the music so loud that you could barely function in there. But we withstood it.
It was literally, we kept saying like the opening scene from Babylon.
Oh, yeah. What? I forget. Oh, like when they're having that wonderful party.
Yeah.
Right?
There's like an elephant and everyone's like going insane.
Was there was loud music there?
Yeah.
Did you like Babylon?
We can't get into this.
Did we already talk about it?
I hated it.
Me too. Oh my God.
He's a hack.
Oh yeah. Wait. Oh my God. I was so you could have been 50-50 on me and I wouldn't have known.
You didn't, we weren't really super friendly. I mean, we're friendly, but we weren't close at the time. But I was like La La Land's #1 hater of all time.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
I was like campaigning across town.
Each effort that Damien Chazelle does past Whiplash, I've seen.
Whiplash
he's
was
running
good.
Yeah, he's running on fumes since then.
Yeah.
And Babylon, I was a part of some weird section of the internet that was like trying to redeem it, like it was a cult classic or whatever. But when I watched it, I was like, this is dog shit. It's aping way better movies,
Yeah.
ripping off Boogie Nights,
Totally.
other directors that he cherishes
Yeah.
that he can't replicate.
I know. Once I started making the Boogie Nights connections, they like never ended.
Yeah,
there was
there's-
like so many scenes where I was like, oh,
Yeah, there's a whole scene that is just like basically the fireworks scene in Boogie Nights
Yeah.
where Dirk Diggler is trying to rob the guy and the
Yeah.
fireworks are going off. There's like almost an
which
exact,
is like one of the great scenes.
yeah, almost exact ripoff, except with Tobey Maguire
Yeah.
as who plays that in the fireworks guy?
It's Alfred Molina.
Oh
Yeah,
my God, yeah,
he's so good.
So anyway, yeah, that's
No, that movie sucks ass. It's so long. It's like there were parts of it that I thought like in a more coherent movie could have been cool.
yeah.
Like bits and pieces of it. I was like, because I'm interested in that time and place, obviously. Like I'm very into that.
Yeah, me too.
But like it was like a mess.
Yeah, it's just
He's a
it's-
bad writer.
Yeah, and it's not funny.
Bad
and
director?
It was supposed to be. Yeah, it was supposed to be funny. A lot of the moments were supposed to be funny. It's not.
Margot
funny.
Robbie wasn't very good.
Yeah, I mean, she to me was the best thing by far in it, but she wasn't very good. Brad Pitt was boring in it. The main guy, I mean,
Yeah.
no offense, like watching paint
Snooze.
dry. Anyway, well, but you're right. Barstella was exactly like that opening scene of Babylon.
Had more fun last night than watching Babylon.
Me too.
But yeah, so I don't know what else to say. The podcast is done. Good night.
That was it. We wanted to do a super short episode this week where we kind of just get down to the basics and then get out. But actually, I think there is stuff that warrants talking about.
Yeah.
Because I'll just say up front before we even talk about news, I had a lot of fun watching Salt Lake City. I was kind of like energized by it.
Well, you did it right because you rewatched all of it
Yes.
right before. So you were like studied.
Yeah, I was studied, and I actually like. I like all of the cast members pretty much. Like
it seems like they perhaps did a good job with their additions.
yes. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about it. But
Yeah.
I thought Monica was a shooting star.
Well, it's also perfect because she is so directly connected
Yeah,
to Jen,
I
who's
love it.
not here anymore, that she can just be like a proxy and she knows everything about
Yes.
what happened there. So it's not like some rando. It's like she can help fill in the gaps of this person that's now gone who we have a lot of questions about.
Yeah, it was
and
like-
she's totally willing to just like only talk about that.
Right. It was perfect. Like
Yeah.
Jen's replacement is someone that knows all of Jen's secrets
Yeah.
and potentially called the Secret Service on her.
I had to think about that. I was like, wait, Secret Service, like the president's bodyguards?
Yeah, but I think they do even more.
Okay.
Secret Service does even more because I watched this movie called In the Line of Fire with Clint Eastwood, and apparently Secret Service have other duties
Okay.
that are not just bodyguards.
Okay. It's like investigation type
Yeah, and so
shit.
the Secret Service would know, I think, internally that something like this was coming.
Okay.
But I do think there is a chance that Monica did not mention the detail that maybe she is the one who potentially, because she became a witness.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought she was an amazing casting. I mean, she blows Angie K out of the water.
Yeah. Angie K looks too much like the other ones too.
Yeah.
If you put Lisa, Meredith, and Angie K in like a hug where they're all three hugging, I wouldn't know.
If they were
who.
like, if they were hugging inward and they were spinning a little bit,
Yeah,
and
and
you
I
had
had
to do
to
that.
like run around in a circle and tap the shoulder of who I thought was who.
Yeah, it'd be that game, where you watch the hands, and one of them has the
ball.
a little ball in it. Do you think it would be kind of like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Salt Lake City, just preemptively, I thought I was having a very good time. Thought it was fun as hell. And then OC, I thought OC is so hit or miss. They
Yeah.
could have the most boring episode, and Tamara could be being horrible. But this one, I liked that there was a little. It seemed like more authentic conflict going on.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and I love that they just immediately went to Mexico, like in the
Yeah.
midst of the episode.
They were just like at dinner all of a sudden. You like blinked and they were already at dinner.
It was
There was
like-
no like bullshit about them like getting ready and like in selecting rooms and whatever.
Yes, it was the least attempt at justifying why they were going on a trip I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was like, I think we have to go to Mexico so we can do shots of tequila. And they were like, yeah. And then within 2 minutes,
Yeah, they were like, we need to go on a trip. Where can we do tequila shots? And they're like, Mexico? And they're like, Mexico it is.
yeah, so I like that. Then Atlanta had a spark.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
a lot of documents.
a lot of documents. It's like the greatest hits of the season. You know, the season was long and it was spread thin, the amount of conflict that we witnessed, but the reunion hypes it all up, you know?
Yeah.
So I liked that. And then I have to say, up front, RHONY can't get worse. It can't get worse.
It's so boring.
It is so boring.
There's no way Andy watched that episode and thought it was good.
No, I mean there's no way, and that's why I'm starting to worry. I'm starting to worry if he, you know, purposefully lies because he overhyped it.
You're such a fucking liar, Andy.
Right. I mean, there is I believe you. If I trust Andy and I trust his taste and I know that he's responsible for some of the greatest decisions, obviously, in all of the franchises, I don't think he could have watched that episode.
Yeah.
Or anyone could have watched that episode. I mean, we did have people defending what they liked about it, which I have to read all of that.
Yeah.
Because I know that there are RHONY defenders, but I feel like even more than last week, this one is almost indefensible.
Yeah. I watched it on Sunday night when I was just chilling. And then I watched it again last night to take notes. And I was like, why am I watching this again? Like, there's no there.
Do you think if we weren't, like, talking about it together and recording a podcast about it, do you think personally you would have grinned and bared it? Or do you think you would have given up?
I probably would still watch it, but, like, super passively.
Yeah.
Like, I pretty much always still watch.
Yeah.
It's just like the degree of how much I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
And like doing other shit, you know?
Yeah, I think it's true. I think, my level of passivity while watching it would have changed. I think I still would have watched it. It is interesting to watch in terms of, like, for me to see how bad a franchise can go.
It's like deprived of oxygen.
I mean, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
They're not. You can counter this, and you might, but like I have not seen them have a genuine moment of fun as a group where they were all just doing something out together and having fun as a group. Like once.
They're truly grasping at straws. It's sad.
Yeah, it's sad and wild, and you have to think. And also the ratings. They had a little bit of an uptick.
Okay.
Like they were in the 500,000, which is like not horrible, but it's not great for RHONY.
Yeah.
RHONY never got that low. Legacy RHONY.
Mm-hmm.
They just had a big bump down again, like 460,000 or 450,000. So it's not going up as the season goes.
Yeah.
Another little dip. And I mean, I think we've talked about it every week, but at a certain point, is he going to dig in his heels, Andy, and say, I just got to give these cast members more time? Or is it going to just admit a mistake? It's so hard to admit a mistake.
Yeah. I wonder, it's so interesting. I'm very curious about how they think about everything moving forward, being that it seems like Peacock is such a big part of their strategy.
Yes.
You know, and that's like such a big part of the whole conversation that's happening right now where streaming is on one hand not profitable, or they're saying it's not profitable enough to give writers or actors what they're asking for. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like there's all of this huge business around, like I think I saw Disney's trying to like buy back stock from, is it Comcast that owns part of Hulu? And it's like billions and billions of dollars. Anyways, I'm just saying, like, do they more care about having content for Peacock more than like linear viewers? Like, do you think it's like taking their eye off the prize where the low viewership won't bother them as much as it did when that was the only game in town? You know what I mean?
Well, I think isn't this what Netflix is sort of going through, where it's like they did want to just be a content hub where it doesn't matter, like as long as you go there and you just have so many options, but then now they're starting to see that they do need to justify having a lot of viewers. Like, I don't know, like exactly if it's just content no matter what is good.
Yeah.
I just think that Peacock is a good testing ground. Like I do think this huge decision that Andy made would have been a much better decision if that had been a Peacock exclusive,
yeah.
and then if it was getting ratings like this, presumably, or like people were really liked it because the expectations were completely different, then maybe it gets the upgrade.
Right.
You know? That's,
like Miami.
yeah, like Miami. But I don't know. I mean, I have to assume that they just weigh how many viewers does this get versus how much does it cost. Like, I'm sure Crappy Lake was a success because it was talked about it,
And it
talked
costs
about
like
a lot.
$1.
And it didn't cost very much. So I think they just still make the same calculations with content.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to have another Sonia and Luann Crappy Lake based off the ratings and reviews, you know, or streaming numbers?
Yeah. It's just, I mean, we talked about this, I think, last week. But again, so crazy to just be reminded how many people watched Vanderpump last season.
Right.
And that is possible. Because I think we keep kind of just going like, those days are over. Like,
Right. No, yeah.
nobody watches TV like that anymore. And it's like, well, they can if there's, you know, something that's a big deal.
Yeah, they totally could. Salt Lake City is definitely trying to have some like moment that, like, I don't know, breaks the fourth wall or whatever. Did you watch the trailer for the full season?
Yes.
I feel like Salt Lake City every season has to have like one like huge scandal to like that equates to the Jen Shaw thing.
Yeah.
And, like, they never quite get there.
Yeah.
Like the Heather black eye.
Nothing can compare to the van or like the feds literally interrupting filming.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so at the beginning, whatever, we'll get into it, but yeah, I wonder what that whole thing's going to be that Heather's like losing her mind about.
Right.
It's like, what could it possibly be?
Yeah, I have no clue.
Quickly, we were going to go over some news items. First, have you, about Carl and Lindsay, how are you feeling? There's not really much new news, except it's really not looking good for Carl in my POV.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about it for a little bit. So I read, all I know is that, you know, I try not to let anonymous posts influence my view, because like this is the time where fake news gets to reap upon the world. There was so much fake news after Scandival.
Fake news.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. I just think that I'm skeptical of a lot of stuff comes out because anybody can profit off news right now without really justifying it. And I don't know how it is. I know I never say it right. Is Dumois like reputable, or can anyone just submit a blind item and they don't have to validate it because it's just randomly submitted to them?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know totally how it works. I know whoever that woman is that runs it, she like has a podcast too, and it seems like she tries to not like source, but it seems like she has some
metric for
like
determining if it's just not a complete slander.
Right.
Like someone can't,
like she seems to put some thought into it, and it seems like it's like pretty often kind of accurate. Like, take everything with a grain of salt, of course, but they always confirm, like she'll put like confirmed once the news story comes out, and she'll post what the blind item was on there. And so like a lot of the time there's something to it, but a lot of it is bullshit. But like
Bethany Frankel one, like right after the Raquel interview that came up on Dumois, was so dumb to me. Maybe so skeptical. It was like, this toxic boss who was on a New York franchise for a really long time is talking about toxic work environments when she's actually the biggest perpetuator of a toxic environment. It just was so clearly someone just trying to get back at Bethany because she had Raquel on her podcast.
Yeah.
And so they were just like using that outlet to add, you know, like a rumor into the world.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of just like, I scroll it. I'm also like very bad at blind items unless they're so obvious. Like, I'm bad. It's like always a riddle.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I can't figure that out.
Yeah, no, me too.
Like, it'll be like, this songstress, like Foxy songstress. Like, I'm like, huh?
Yeah, right. So with the Carl and Lindsay, I saw one that was like a comment on Dumois. I hope I'm getting this right, but it was something like, Lindsay made Carl look bad all summer, and she was completely emotionless when Carl broke up with her, which
Can picture it perfectly.
No offense to Lindsay, but I can definitely picture a world where she was just
stone-faced.
Absolutely stone-faced, and obviously, I'm sure, hurt by it, but having no emotion. Like, I've seen her do that to Danielle's face, and I was shocked by it then. I can imagine a world where both those things are true. I mean, I have seen Lindsay treat Carl like shit, objectively. I think people could make that claim. Not that there's any justification for Carl blindsiding on camera, but that sounds as true to me as Lindsay was devastated. She cried all night. She can't leave her home.
Yeah.
Carl is having sex with someone else and he got someone pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the time where people want to take advantage of what we don't know.
Right.
And I think it sounds a little too salacious to me that Carl was cheating.
Right.
And getting someone pregnant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I saw, again, this is like slander, so I'm just saying
it's just pure
that,
slander.
like, what I saw online, like,
yeah, this is all
whatever,
alleged.
it's all BS.
Yeah.
But there was a comment that was like, and he's potentially still using, which, like, would be dark.
Oh, that was all that. Where was that at? Also,
that might have been. Was it? I think I saw like a TikTok about that same pregnancy thing.
Yeah.
And then there were like comments on it.
That to me is so easy though, because it's just
Of
like
course.
it's like one of the 5 facts you know about Carl that any casual person knows, and so just bringing that into the ether.
Sure. And then, but one thing that came up that I did think was interesting was, remember last year, or was it this year, like when the show was on, there was that rumor going around that someone on Summer House was cheating, and everyone just automatically thought it was Kyle.
Yes.
And he was like, Lindsay started that rumor, blah, blah, blah. And there was that whole thing.
Right.
And I'm like, maybe it was Carl.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I don't view
You
Carl
don't see him as a cheater?
I mean, he was definitely.
he's historically a fuckboy.
Yeah, he was a fuckboy, and for some reason, I can't imagine Carl cheating on Lindsay, especially with the scrutiny that he would have. Anyone would submit that. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't buy it, but I guess I wouldn't be fully surprised if it happened.
I'm just allowing the space for us to explore all options.
I think, I believe that Lindsay and Carl had raucous fights.
Yeah.
While they were planning their wedding, and what seemed like pre-wedding jitters or the fights you have because you're just stressed out might have taken Carl to a place where he couldn't do it anymore. Like they could have just been too wild for him at this stage in his life, and so I just imagine it was like, because we already saw the relationship like that.
Yeah.
I just think that at a certain point, probably the fighting was too severe for him right before the wedding.
Yeah, totally. Didn't one of the cheating rumors say that the source was like Everett or something?
Really? That also just sounds like, hey, Everett's back into play. That was when, was that the one that where people all thought it was about Kyle? That Everett was the one who started that, right?
Oh, really?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, he like wants to be back on the show, probably.
Yeah. There's been so much turnover on the Summer House cast, like the Everett and Workus twins era and Steven era. It's like it had a full rebrand.
Steven was such a bummer.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? Again, slander, but some of the comments on that cheating post were like, well, a man can't get pregnant. And the person replied, and they were like, are you saying that Carl cheated with a man? And they were like, that's exactly what I'm saying. And they were like, I have a good source.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is a fun thing to imagine. I wonder what Steven would have to say about that, because he seemed to always be implying that Carl was down.
Did he?
Yeah.
I mean, I
remember Carl was like, yeah, I've had my dick sucked by a guy. Like, who cares? Which I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, do you think I mean, I have no idea. I always felt like when Carl said that story, he was like, it happened, and it was he said it was the best blowjob of his life, but I didn't take that as, I don't know, he was admitting bisexuality.
Sure. Yeah. I just have it in my toolbox of evidence.
Yeah.
Where if it were to go in that direction, could be fun for us all.
That when Carl was describing that scene, it was like, what? Do you remember like the details of it? It was like he was like he was doing a play, and he was in a playhouse in North Hollywood, and they had just got done like performing on stage, and then they went into a back room, and he had like a threesome with two women, and then the director came in.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
I need to rewatch that.
The details of it? Yeah, because it was like, because Steven is, he's the one who fully just told that to everyone, like this story that Carl told him.
Yeah.
In
Remember
private.
when Jordan was trying to pretend that he had a sex life, and he was like, and the chick stuck her thumb up my ass, and I screamed.
Yeah, he was doing like 40-year-old virgin bits and like American Pie stuff to like.
Everyone was like, huh?
It was Kyle's reactions to Jordan in the house are so funny because he just doesn't believe anything
Those
that
were
Jordan
good
says
times.
ever. Oh, that was so great.
He was just a blatant liar.
Yeah, just such a liar.
And then what was the funny Andrea story? He also told a funny sex story where he was like, it was like maybe
Did he lie about sex?
he didn't lie, but he told a funny story about something that had happened. I'm trying to remember. I think they were all going around and telling funny stories. I miss Summer House. I'm ready for it to come back.
Me too. I think I'm so excited that I can't believe how close we are to Southern Charm coming back.
God.
It's like feels like this, huge thing that I didn't have to wait for it. I just
Right.
had my whole Southern Charm journey just the
know.
last month, and now I'm just like right back into
We
it.
have
I'm
too
so
many
excited.
housewives on right now. I'm like, let's trade out for some different franchises.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. I do need to mention you sent me a new trailer for that show Villains today, and there's a special appearance by Carol Baskin.
Yes. So the show looks horrendous, like one of the worst pieces of content I've ever seen in my life. And, I said a couple weeks ago that I think that when Bravo talent goes into a different reality world, it sort of like cheapens their brand.
Yeah.
Because other networks don't know how to portray them with the beautiful Bravo sheen that we see. So this looks awful. And I think it was when Jax was thought that he was, done completely with Vanderpump Rules. And so he was just, he wanted to win $200,000 or whatever. But the show looks horrible.
Yeah.
Jax is in the trailer for maybe 1 minute playing hockey. And then I think I heard that he leaves the show early because of a family emergency or something.
God.
So he's barely in it.
He can't help himself.
Yeah, and then I was shocked. I was watching it, and it looks... Did you watch the full trailer?
I kind of scrubbed through.
It's
I
just-
couldn't take it.
It looks so bad. I mean, I don't care about any of those villains. I don't care about any of those other shows. Jax is in it for 1 second, and then but then they go. I felt like the house was missing something. Joel McHale said that. So I kind of feel bad for Joel McHale.
Yeah, that's kind of a fall from grace.
Why can't he find something that works for him?
Yeah.
He's always just like has to be the host of some really garbage show.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
I feel like he was on the cusp for a while.
What's wrong?
Well, by your logic, that means he's bad.
Yeah, he could be horrible on set. Anyway, he's like kind of like, whoa, this show is wild, but I think it's missing something. We've got Carol Baskin here. And then just like you said, she comes down in that glitter tiger from the Beyonce Renaissance tour. And it's just fun that I feel like you specifically brought Carol Baskin back.
I wasn't ready to let her go.
I think that if you hadn't talked about her multiple times, I don't know if those were just on Patreon or not, but the times you've brought Carol Baskin back into the world, I feel like if you hadn't said that, Carol Baskin would not have been on House of Villains.
Yeah, it's like the butterfly effect.
I totally think that because I hadn't thought about Carol Baskin once. I mean, I love that remix that you always send me. The
Carol Baskin killed her husband, whacked him.
yeah, like obviously I love that song, but I had not thought about Carol Baskin for so long. So I thought that was interesting that she's in the villain household.
Yeah.
But that show looks horrible, and I don't think I will even watch it, even for the brief glimpses of Jax.
Yeah.
I don't want to reward dog shit reality TV programming from other networks.
Yeah, I'll watch the clips on TikTok.
Yeah.
Speaking of trash,
Speaking of trash,
I don't know, just kind of depressing, but there's rumors on the streets that Mauricio is also doing Dancing with the Stars.
but okay, I have a question because I don't follow Dancing with the Stars, and I consider
Yeah.
it garbage also.
Yeah.
And I know people love it, and I'm sorry, but I feel like that's garbage. why are some cast members shrouded in mystery, but Ariana has been touted on the casts for a year,
Right.
or 6 months? She's
Yeah.
why do they celebrate and honor and shed light on her? Do they just want the publicity of that, and then they keep all the other ones?
Yeah, I don't know, because usually at some point they announce all of them, which I don't think has happened yet. I think we would have heard about that.
What will the world do when they unveil the like burlap sack off of Mauricio's head and say Mauricio is a part of Dancing with the Stars? What do they expect?
It's weird. I don't know. Maybe he's like deciding if he wants to do it or something. Like maybe he's like doing some lessons.
You sent me good evidence. It shows him, and he's covered completely by an umbrella because they're walking to set, and they're. Did you see it? It was like a bunch of Secret Service.
He's wearing one of those like insane visors that like comes all the way down your face.
Yeah, and then he has these beaded bracelets that you can see in one of the photo you sent me, and it's like they look very much like Mauricio's. Would he be like acknowledged enough? Is he enough of I mean, I know he's so a part of Beverly Hills, but do you think he's like his notoriety transcends?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
so
like
it's a good decision.
He has obviously the legacy of Bravo as like the favorite house husband, and then he had that spin-off show that shockingly I never watched. I feel like in another life I would have 100% watched it.
I feel
it's
like
not on Netflix.
Yeah, but I feel like Netflix shows now just like you blink and they're never talked about again.
Trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, speaking of full-blown garbage.
Trash. And then plus like he has that like $1 million listing flair too. Like he's not fully on that show, but he kind of is.
Oh, he pops in?
He like, because some of the agents, not anymore, because they have basically honed it down to like 3 main baller agents.
Yeah.
But there used to be these 2 British guys that were kind of like bumbling fools.
Yeah, I
and
remember
they
that.
worked at the agency, and so Mauricio would be on sometimes.
Wow.
But they were like always like fucking up.
They
was
were?
Like, oh.
Were they like sort of like bumbling British dudes?
Kind of.
Were they like Three Stooges-esque stuff?
Yeah, they was like slipping on stuff.
Like they'd play pranks on each other when one walks in the house and a water bucket falls on the other one's head? Like that kind of stuff?
All the time.
Or they go to the house and there's a fruit basket on it, and they think it's real when they take a bite and it's fake fruit.
Wax.
Was that kind of
Do you
stuff?
like Three Stooges?
No.
No, me neither.
It's
Too
not
violent.
It's too violent, disturbingly so. And
They're nasty.
They're sick. Larry, Curly, Mo, and then apparently I think there was one that replaced one when they died.
Oh, sad.
I think it's some of the sickest stuff I've ever seen. Although I do like that there's one episode of the Stooge Brothers where they try to get a piano up the Silver Lake Descanso stairs.
Oh,
Do you know
that's cool.
those long stairs that are sort of by, in Silver Lake, it's called Descanso, and there's this long-running, beautiful stairs. Anyway, I had no idea, but in like the 1920s, they're still there from that day. And the Three Stooges try to get a piano up these stairs, but would you believe it? They have a lot of trouble. Can you imagine sort of some of the comedy that comes?
Ensues.
Yeah, I think that humor of all. I was actually talking about this with Jimmy at.
That sounds right.
But that humor, I think, has evolved so much. Like there is no humor that has just stayed consistent that we could still laugh at from 100 years ago, because I think humor is just fully evolving. So Three Stooges, like we are just so past that era, I think.
The only example, I mean, obviously this is a version of it taken to the extreme, but I mean, this is not an original thought, but like Jackass is like the most pure form.
Yeah.
Obviously it's like made more disgusting than anything you could have done 100 years ago, but it's just like true physical comedy.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess
know?
there is a antecedent, or that's true. Yeah,
and nothing makes me laugh more
than Jackass.
Oh my god, I love it.
Wow, I never saw Jackass 4 or whatever it was. Jackass Forever.
It's so good.
It is.
Yeah.
I worked with
Hopefully
Johnny Knoxville.
Do you like him? I saw him at I'm letting you off the hook.
Thank you.
I saw him at the day that I saw Barbenheimer, he was at the theater.
Was he falling down?
He like had his dick out and there was like string tied to it, and then like Steve-O was getting pulled on water skis.
A firework that they lit off and it spins his penis around. So he was doing that outside of the AMC. Is that why the fire alarm got pulled, you said?
It was his fault.
That's amazing.
Well, in his defense, he's good looking, in my opinion.
That's awesome.
Very hot.
He was killing it on set. He was everybody was happy and proud of him. So
Okay.
yeah, he's amazing. Okay, one to end this horrible, all garbage news that we've talked about with nothing fun, with no hope in sight.
Yeah.
I did want to mention briefly, because it happened right after we recorded last week, but you saw at the Vanderpump Rules finale party, Kyle Chan brought everybody to San Francisco,
Yeah.
which was already jarring enough.
Yeah. I can't believe Kyle Chan has weaseled his way in so hard. It's all Sandoval's fault.
The people who played it the best, which we've already mentioned, were Billy Lee and Kyle Chan.
Yeah.
The minute that Sandoval happened, they both started rubbing their hands, and they called him up, and they go, "Hey, you didn't commit any egregious moral act to me, buddy. Do you need friends right now?" And it worked completely. The fact that everyone had to go, Ariana had to go celebrate Kyle Chan's whiskey opening in another city. Like,
Yeah, everybody went.
everyone went. I mean, they have to go. They
Do
have
they
to get
all
their
really
bonus.
like him that much? Like, what?
I mean, no offense.
What's
to you,
with Kyle Chan?
I hate to talk shit about someone who is a Patreon member and a Villa Rosa VIP, but Kyle Chan, come on. I don't think it was right that you made everybody go to that party in San Francisco for your whiskey. It seemed jarring, just like every single thing out of context that I've seen from this season. I still want to give it, the benefit of the doubt, because who knows? But this seemed even more like of an outlier thing. Like, just seeing them in San Francisco was jarring. I was like,
Yeah.
you guys, I don't know if you guys belong in San Francisco.
Right.
Seeing them go down Lombardi Street on that, on that crooked street,
Zigzag.
and then seeing them in Alcatraz, and then anyway, so it seemed like with Rachel Leviss, her not being a part of this season, I think that they're gonna have trouble with the resolution, because I don't think Ariana, as much as the producers want, will ever talk to Sandoval again. I think she's gonna stand firm in that.
Yeah.
So then it was kind of like, it felt like, well, this party needs something. This guy is gonna go absolutely nuts on the cast, and like,
Do you think he was a paid actor?
well, one of the people who were there, I don't think so, because I would never cast aspersions on production like that they would fake something and provide a plant to create drama, because it's not going to make any sense. That's not
Right.
going to be a good finale if
Yeah.
just a random fan starts creating chaos. It's going to be
Yeah.
horrible. So I don't think they would do that. But someone who went to the actual event said it seemed very fake. Like that it seemed like things weren't going production's way.
Wasn't
and
it that walking pad girl?
Yes.
There's this TikTok influencer that walks on a walking pad all day in San Francisco.
That's so cool.
And she was at the party.
Yeah.
She drinks Diet Coke on her walking pad.
That's awesome. I mean, it's a good excuse to just be exercising while also talking.
Totally. I'd love to have one.
Huh?
I would love to have one.
I have a walking pad.
You do?
Yeah. Megan bought one.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Link me in the TikTok shop.
Oh, I totally will.
Should we put stuff on TikTok shop?
Yeah.
Seems to be the new thing.
Let's put everything that you and I love in real life. Starbucks,
Our empty cups.
empty cups. What else would we sell? We don't talk
Our
about.
used merch that we wear.
Oh, that would be really nice. Like a lightly worn Grigio girl hat.
With our stench on it.
I would like that.
Pay even more. People would pay even more.
TikTok shop could be more like things that we talk about, right? It doesn't just have to be things that we
like
generate.
that, like scrubber. I always see people trying to sell this like cleaning scrubber, like an electric brush that you clean the shower with. And for some reason, everyone on TikTok is trying to sell for commission this brush.
Maybe it's yielding like insane commission.
It must be. Maybe we should get into our scammer era.
I'm ready. I mean, we have to generate profit somehow.
I went to Urban Outfitters last weekend to buy a disposable camera before Beyonce, because I wanted like one of the fun, cool ones. And do you know what they sell at Urban Outfitters?
Records. What else?
Scrub mommies.
They sell scrub mommies? Wait, what differentiates scrub mommy from scrub daddy?
I think she's a little softer. Think
Why?
about that.
She's softer, huh? Why?
She's a lady.
Okay. So scrub daddy is really bristly.
Rough.
But they still give that. Do they still have beautiful smiles?
Yeah. You put your finger in their eyeballs and your thumb in their mouth.
Have I told you that I use scrub daddy?
You like it? That abrasive texture really works for a lot of things.
I use it for countertops and not on dishes. I use these beautiful Trader Joe's sponges that that when you put water on them, they fully grow.
Oh, that's
They're
cool.
soft. They're kind of like scrub mommy texture. But
Do
I
they
use
come
scrub.
in a 4-pack?
They come in like a 6-pack.
Okay. I think I've seen those.
And I'm starting to be a little more frivolous with when I start to throw away sponges.
That's good.
Because some people, I don't want to talk shit about people that I know, but some people will keep a sponge for a month, and you don't have to, right?
The germs.
Yeah.
Well, have you heard of Eva Mendez's sponges?
No, what's going on with them?
You know the actress Eva Mendes, who's
Of course.
married to Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
She has a line of sponges that she's hawking online that when you should throw it away, the print on the back starts fading so that you know when to throw it away.
Oh, I like that.
Which I'm like, what happened to her career? Why does she have to sell sponges now?
Well, yeah, what do you think's going on?
I don't know.
She was good in The Other Guys when she played
yeah.
Will Ferrell's wife.
Okay.
And then,
They're showing Bad Lieutenant at the New Bev this week, and I've never seen it, and she's in that.
oh, it's kind of good.
Yeah.
I think so. Some people
Is
really
that
hate it.
Werner?
It's Werner. Yeah.
Our friend?
Yeah, it's our friend. Oh my God, we got to get Werner Herzog on the pod. He loved the shout outs last week.
Yeah.
But well, just to wrap up the person throwing stuff at Tom Sandoval, he threw 3 different things. He threw a centerpiece from the table. Kyle Chan, you can see like he was like not the centerpiece. Then he threw a glass of wine. Then he started to almost throw a chair.
Was it like definitely about Sandoval, or did Sandoval just take it upon himself to try and stop him?
So there's 2 theories. I think one is that security told him, please settle down, sir. You're causing a horrible scene. And he kept trying to go into a section that was barred off from the other cast members. And he was a total fan.
Yeah.
Like he was like a fan that he was trying to give alcohol to them. He was trying to talk to them. Billy Lee, which, I don't know how reputable she is, but she said that he knew like everything about her. Like he knew secret facts about her. So he was like
Not secret facts.
not the secret facts.
Where
but
she went to elementary school, who her first teacher was, what city she was born in.
yeah, basically she said every bank security question he knew the answer to. So he was frightening to the cast, and I don't know if he might have been like thought that it was his place to like start to throw stuff at Sandoval because he thought like this is like the morally right thing to do when you see this man in public, or if he was mad at security. We don't really know, but I don't know how they're going to include this in the edit of the season and make it make sense, because it's going to be very odd if the finale of Vanderpump Rules has to explain that a fan
Right.
He wreaked havoc upon a party. Like it's just
Right. Like
it
it's
has
not like
no
it
narrative.
can build
It has-
to like if it's violence between the cast, then it can build to outbursts. But if it's just random, it's kind of just a distraction.
So I almost think that they might have to remove it from the edit just because it
Right.
won't make much sense.
Yeah.
And it breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah. Did you see that thing of apparently, again, I don't know if this is true, but it looked like I think it might have been on Dismal also, but that the producers tried to set up a scene where Ariana and Sandoval spoke, and she got furious and like literally left like entirely.
I think that to me it means that a narrative thread that they wanted to or whatever a narrative they wanted to create was that Ariana might eventually have to have a sit down with Tom Sandoval because they don't have Rachel Leviss there to complete that storyline. So I feel like they probably just got too pushy towards the end, even though Ariana has been so explicit about that she'll never talk to him again. And it makes me think that this finale party didn't have the resolution that they wanted.
Do you think they should just pay Rachel like, I don't know, $50,000 for one lunch with someone.
I don't think that Rachel would do it.
Yeah.
I don't think that she would. I think she would be all or nothing. She's still, well, I don't know. Now I feel like she won't be able to come back because it's just not going to make sense to be missing from an entire season and then you come back.
Right.
I mean, she possibly could. I mean, for the benefit of the show, they should take whatever Rachel will give them.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I was thinking about how, assuming that Kyle Chan party was indeed the finale, we kind of already talked about this, but I think my friend Jen brought this to my attention, or, this thought starter. That means that something about her didn't open in season 11, which I assume was the whole point.
Yeah.
So it's like, yet again, that target was missed with one of the children's restaurants.
Yes, and it's only more egregious because last season ended with them saying it was going to be open really soon.
Eating sandwiches over, like, just standing up over a tablecloth in an empty restaurant.
Right.
I'm just like, I don't know. It's kind of whatever. I'm wondering if, because the thing is, there's not that much, it's more vindication against Katie, who talked so much shit about them not being able to open Schwartz and Sandy's, which we all agreed it was like a shit show. But Ariana was like always supportive. Like, she was never like, you guys are fucking idiots. Like, why can't you get this bar open?
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, on the Ariana side of things, I'm like, whatever. She was like supportive and minding her business about it. But Katie was like, I was raised in restaurants. You guys don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do think, just devil's advocate against, what you just said, is that I do think, well, so many things are unforeseen, I guess. So they should have known enough to know that probably some hindrance could happen. But getting the city to, like, all of a sudden change the walkability of a street, and that you have to dismantle an existing patio. You would never think that you'd have to remove a patio when the previous owner used it.
You thought you were like turnkey.
But
as we discussed, Sandoval has a plant, or is a plant, in the city planning office. So
we talked
made
about
it near impossible.
We talked about that on Patreon. Some of these hurdles that something about her encounter could have been because we know that Tom Sandoval works in the West Hollywood City Planning Office, and he could have shown up. And
he was wearing the wig he wore when he dressed up as Rachel for Halloween, and then he wore construction goggles, and he came and he was like, this can't be here. It can't be like this.
And Katie and Ariana, we found out, never knew it was him.
Yeah.
Right?
Until they saw the squirt can on the floor.
Exactly right. So, well...
But yeah, I mean, I'm ready to eat a sandwich sometime soon, but
do you think now that they won't delay it so that it has priority on next season, right? They'll probably still open it and it'll be in the interim.
Right. But I'm like, also, if Ariana's doing Dancing with the Stars, she's not going to have fucking time. Like, depending how long she's on it for.
Yeah.
She's going to be busy as hell.
I think that Vanderpump Rules can't rely on the businesses that the cast members are opening like they can on Lisa to be pivotal parts. They need to rely more on emotional, like, engagement parties and, more related to the personal, aspects of the cast, like what parties they want to throw versus relying on the arc of a business, because Schwartz and Sandy's couldn't meet that deadline. Now something about her. Only Lisa could, like, perfectly orchestrate a pump opening, like, right when the season begins,
Wait, so now my memory is so jumbled, but so Schwartz and Sandy's has never been open on the show.
Oh, right.
Right?
No, yeah. Right, not like, well, they went, like, 5 times.
Yeah.
But
it's never been, like, in operation because it opened in, like, December.
Right. No, they had their friends and family. They had all the cast come over and get a shot or drinks after.
Yeah.
They had another, like, soft launch. They talked about all of the hurdles that they were trying to overcome to get it open. But yeah, I don't think it was officially ever open on the show. So this will be the first season of that.
Yeah. Which is crazy because it will have been open, like, a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that if Lisa was in charge of opening something about her, that it would be open already?
Good question. I bet Lisa would have been more informed on whatever was happening on Robertson. That like these upcoming bureaucratic changes, like maybe Ariana and Katie and Penny, missed some steps there when they were trying to like race to get this open. So I do think Lisa might have been more knowledgeable about the state of that area.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I do think she would have.
Yeah, I bet Lisa's so involved in like the Chamber of Commerce and like the mayor's office and all of that, because the all of that West Hollywood infrastructure, like that office is like right there.
Right.
And I bet Lisa just waltzes in and is like, what are the updates?
Exactly right. So she knows, and I think that I think Katie and Ariana and Penny wanted distance from Lisa as much as they could, and it might have been one of those instances where Lisa would have offered good advice if they asked.
Totally. I don't want to, but we should go to Tom Tom soon just to see what it looks like with the pump sign.
Yeah, I think we need to, I think we owe it to everyone to experience that firsthand, because I still don't 100% understand if pump branded, what's that called? Breakfast or brunch is like, it's pump themed within TomTom, or if it's supposed to be an actual separate entity that you're like entering pump when you go to the garden of TomTom.
It's very weird. Also, did we talk about during the Hurricane Hillary, the Paris casino was like flooding?
Oh yeah, you sent me that video. It was wild. The like squares of roof were starting to like
painted like the sky were caving in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is Vanderpump à Paris okay?
I hope so. We need to check in on that. I mean, we're going to see it in November.
And I think some of the BravoCon events are at the Paris.
Oh, they are?
I think so.
Oh, I mean, that makes sense.
I think. Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll see for ourselves. All right. Well, should we take a quick break and move on to the housewives?
Yeah, let's do it. We didn't have very much fun news to report. Just a bunch of garbage reality TV programming, and then, well, I don't know. I mean, there's fun stuff in there, right? The Sponge update.
Yeah, the Sponge minute.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
How do you ever use magic eraser?
No, what is that?
Oh my God, it's the best. The Mr. Clean magic eraser.
Does it really withdraw stains?
Oh wow, yeah.
Really?
It's crazy.
I've tried some of those Tide pens before.
Not Tide pen.
Okay, so Tide pen doesn't work.
Well, it's just they're different.
What about the OxyClean pen?
Well, the magic eraser is more for like countertops and like it basically like if there's grime, it'll cut right through. If there's like a stain, it's basically apparently like has an abrasive quality to it that's akin to like sandpaper. So there are certain surfaces that you have to like watch out because it might like damage the surface.
Okay.
But it really works.
Oh my God, that is awesome. Okay. Well,
I'll get you one.
Yeah. You will?
Yeah.
That would be so sweet. And it's Mr. Clean branded?
Yeah.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah. He's a zaddy.
He likes everything so clean.
Do you think he has a problem?
Well, I mean, he can't tolerate filth.
He's like Howie Mandel.
Yeah, but people say that's just fake because Howie Mandel doesn't want to shake anybody's hand.
Nah.
You think it's real?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Remember, I saw something about he was outed on Howard Stern for his OCD, and it was actually kind of fucked up, but like...
it wasn't public knowledge?
Yeah. And like, it was something like he wouldn't leave the room because he wouldn't touch the door handle or something like that. And then they just like kept talking about it like on air, and he was like, well, guess everyone knows now.
Whoa.
But now it's kind of his thing.
It is?
Like he's open about it.
That's amazing to hear.
There's, his legacy was kind of destroyed with that interview.
Yeah. And then he went on Lala's podcast, and I didn't even listen to it because I was like, I don't want you to benefit at all from this. I don't know. Lala wanted to get some runoff from that Howie Mandel shit, but
we live in like a swamp of these podcasts.
I know. I'm kind of interested now, and then we can sign off and take a little break, but I'm interested to see how the Vanderpump Rules acts because they've been on since March talking only about Scandival, and sort of like a preemptive season happened basically, like they didn't have downtime really,
Yeah.
and then they had to go straight into filming. Like I'm kind of interested to see how they act when they're not going to have any spotlight for a while,
Yeah.
because it is going to die down. It just naturally has to.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're going to just fully all like take a break and just withdraw and relax and then let the spotlight leave them until season 11, or if any of them are going to try to keep the churning fire of Scandival in the interim.
Right. Yeah. I can't believe they're like running on fumes at this point.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of running on fumes, let's go to the toilet together, go to the bathroom, and then come back and talk about what I thought were 3 good shows and then 1 absolute flop garbage show.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're back.
Hello. Okay. So Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, season 4, episode 1, fresh powder, fresh start.
Yes. Fresh powder, which relates to that, snow
Yes.
vibe. And then fresh start relates to Heather's attempt to get everybody to have a fresh start on the cast.
Yes.
The cast put some of the feuds to bed.
In a post Jen Shaw world.
And I thought that was good. Like, a great party, a great idea for a party, because I do think that because I just watched it all recently, so it's pretty fresh in my mind. Some of these feuds have lasted a little too long, like specifically the Meredith Lisa feud. Like, it does seem like it's time for some of these things to be put to bed and just start completely fresh, in my opinion. I think that was the right call for Heather to make.
Yeah. This also opened with a date. It said Bermuda, May 10th, 2023. And Heather's going insane on the phone. The crew is trying to decide whether to go in or not. The producer's like, just go in. And then she kicks them out. She's saying, I don't know what she's saying. She's saying some shit about like, how could we have all been fooled or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you think's going on?
In May? Like,
in May?
do you think there's a Jen Shaw update, or do you think it's about something totally different? Like her family, maybe?
I mean, I guess I would assume Jen Shaw, possibly the Monica revelation. Monica? That's her name, right? Possibly that. I don't know. I have to take Heather now, unfortunately, a little bit with a grain of salt after her black eye incident.
Stunt.
If I'm recalling correctly, she never admitted to what actually happened, right?
No.
She admitted that she said that she doesn't remember.
Right.
That she blacked out and then she woke up with a black eye. But then while watching season 3, she says multiple times she knows exactly what happened and she knows exactly who did it and they need to fess up or whatever. And she strings this piece of drama out for like 4 episodes without revealing it, which is very annoying.
Yeah.
She treated it like it was like a murder mystery party. Mm-hmm. It was really bad. Mm-hmm. And Whitney had the proper reaction where she was like, just tell us what's going on. All of them were just like, you're making it way worse by not explaining what happened.
Like, it's weird.
So that unfortunately bumped Heather down in my esteem a little bit. I still love her. But if this is going to be Heather-centric, I'm like skeptical of what it is. I feel like everybody wants the Lisa Barlow rant moment now. Uh-huh. Because that got so much more like, I don't know, that was so like talked about.
Right.
When
you
it was
can't manufacture a hot mic moment.
It wasn't even a hot mic.
Oh.
I mean, she had her mic on. She knew she was, you know what I mean? She just like ran into a bathroom and started screaming, but she knew she was mic'd.
Right.
It was just like more of like a meltdown where she said horrible things about Meredith. But anyway, I'm skeptical of what Heather is bringing after the black eye thing. But maybe it's about.
She did get a little thirsty, also on Girls Trip. It just felt like she was becoming too aware of the game to be played.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like she started out pure.
Yeah, a little too much hubris, you think?
Yeah. Her bad Mormon energy.
Yeah. I liked how this started though with the
Had that
Bible verses.
opening. It was very intense.
Were those Mormon?
I also had that question.
Like, because Micah, I was like, cause, I grew up, I was raised religious or whatever, but I don't remember a book of Micah. But
Right.
maybe,
So-
and then there was some stuff in there where it was like, if thou dances with the devil, thou will be deceived. And I was like, I don't think that's in the Bible.
Right.
Dancing with the devil. So
Yeah.
that seemed like it was maybe.
What's the Mormon book called?
Oh my God! I just learned so much about Mormon stuff from that that Big Bright Sky book, or what's that one, the Andrew Garfield show?
Under the Banner of Heaven.
Yeah. But I don't remember what it's called.
It's the I should know this.
It's not called the Book of Mormon.
Oh, maybe it is.
The Book of Mormon.
Not to be confused with the musical. It's the Book of Mormon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those were Book of Mormon quotes because it makes way more sense than just random Bible verses. But I
Yeah.
like that. I was like, what a strong opening. Like,
Yeah, it's weird that I still get, even though I've was a big fan of the musical Book of Mormon originally, and then I read Under the Banner of Heaven, and I'm generally interested in it. I'm still confused. I still don't understand the religion at all. I'm I know that Jesus is involved, but then there's so much other lore that I'm it's two different things combined. I'm I don't know.
Yeah, Joseph Smith wanted to make America, the United States of America, a central part of the biblical story of Jesus. So he changed it
It's too international.
it was too international. He wanted an American sprung religion, homegrown religion that's still related directly to the Bible. But I think it's the second coming of Jesus happened. I'm not sure, but he found it through those seer stones. He read it, the plates. He read it, and I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess I don't know the actual theology of it, and I'm not sure if I guess Mormons must be pretty well versed in the I don't know if they let them know much about the historical aspect of it, and they more focus on just the specific biblical stuff that they have. But anyway, that was fun, and I wanted to ask you. So I know Heather and Whitney have left the church, right? Fully. Heather obviously, and Whitney did last season.
Yeah.
Are Lisa and Meredith still a part of the church and they just don't talk about it?
It's kind of confusing.
Because I think Lisa is still involved because we find out that her son is going to go on a 2-year mission. I don't think a son would do that if your family was not practicing Mormons for a while. Right. So is Lisa just
and she's all about Jesus and stuff. I'm is Meredith even actually Mormon?
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking I could be totally wrong, and if I'm wrong, strike me dead. But I think that Lisa and Meredith just downplay their Mormonism, but they actually are. But they just never want to talk about it.
Right.
Whereas Heather and Whitney are so outspoken.
But then remember on RHONY, Aaron invites Brooks Marks for Shabbat. And it almost I'm are they also Jewish?
Oh yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all about that.
Full disclosure, I've only watched any Salt Lake once.
Yeah, no, me too.
So it's the franchise I know the least. Whereas all the other cities I've probably watched 5 times.
Well, we'll get well versed, together. But I guess I know specifically that Lisa never talks about it. She doesn't talk about going to church really very often at all. But then this seemed
she sings that Baby Manger song at one point, doesn't she?
She does.
Isn't she sing a?
Oh yeah, with in Heather's choir. Last season. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she comments on being religious, but I guess that could mean something different than being fully indoctrinated. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you notice that there was sort of a lack of Whitney in this premiere episode?
It's true.
It didn't really show any home life scenes with her. She wasn't even.
Sounds like there's gonna be trouble in paradise
with
her husband.
They did. They showed a preview of that.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it.
Yeah.
Did you notice? Did you? We're getting to the end, but I thought it was so shocking that Meredith at the end of this episode brings up the paint
sex.
by number sex thing, and then I was like, show the clip.
I know they didn't
had-
show it.
I think it's like they know
Banned.
that guy no. Well, first of all, they have the footage that they had sex immediately after. They were too horny and they had to shut down filming, but they still caught glimpses of it. But I think it's because that guy got fired. What's that guy's name? Justin?
I think so.
Justin got fired, so I think it's like salt in the
Out of
wound
respect.
to show it. So it's like that's a rare image now. That's
Yeah, we have to print it out, put it in our book.
yeah.
Okay, so
You want to recap it fully?
we could just go through any highlights.
I do think the Sundance aspect. It starts with Sundance.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that was like the entry into this world a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that Sundance has really revitalized Salt Lake City
Right.
culture, right?
Yeah, Lisa calls herself the Sundance Queen.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of like, is she an event planner?
I have no clue.
Like,
I don't know.
because that seemed to be what she was doing.
Right. She was like, this chair over here, this couch over here.
Right. But I'm like, does she have a business? Like she has the tequila or
Yeah.
Yeah, the tequila.
I don't.
Right?
Yeah, she does. But I don't know about her Sundance event planning aspect. I just know about Vita Tequila.
Like she doesn't really talk about having a business
I know.
of like event planning, so it's kind of weird.
I mean, we could have total Salt Lake City fans that are just like, well, yeah, she talks
Like,
about it
you
all the time.
fucking
Yeah.
idiot.
So give us a little bit of leeway here. If we're not well versed, we're learning with all of you, and we'll watch it again, and we're going to become the biggest Salt Lake City experts. But I don't recall a lot of Lisa's Sundance, what she's doing there,
Right.
and what her impact is, except that maybe in the first season they talk about that more.
Right. Yeah, she mostly just hawks her Vita.
When Lisa, I want to ask you, when Lisa asks for a Vita cocktail wherever she goes, they know specifically exactly what she wants because she doesn't give them any.
I know, it's weird.
Isn't Vita just a tequila?
Yeah.
So when she says a Vita cocktail, it's like, first of all, she knows that they're on the menu every single place they go.
Right. I was wondering about that. Like, are they going specifically to restaurants where she has deals, and then maybe on the menu there's like, they like have like a little featured cocktail.
So the only place she goes is she'll go to a
I mean,
partner
it's the Bethany clause.
where
She,
that's how
like,
she gets to promote.
yeah.
Oh, and they want a piece of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, that's
'Cause
a
it's-
weird way to order.
Or do you think she like orders and then like 5 minutes later they come back and they're like, what?
Yeah. I was like, I'm sorry, what did you want in your cocktail? But I think that
Yeah, she was like, I need a Diet Coke. And then she was like, and a Vita cocktail.
Right.
And I'm going to get the tuna nachos.
I guess maybe it's just so prevalent in that area, and she does know the ones that host her cocktail, and so they always know what she wants around.
Right.
But she's not specific at all with that order, and that's all she orders.
No, yeah, we should look up where they went and look at the menu.
Yeah. So we learned that Lisa, after she got done rearranging that furniture, she talks about how Jack, her 18-year-old son, is not going to go to college. And so I do remember, because I just watched it, Jack was very hesitant about college because he thinks that it's like not for losers, but he thinks that you can have if you're an entrepreneur, like a Mark Zuckerberg, you can drop out and like you can focus on your company and use that time. So I feel like he was always hesitant about college, but now it's like his religion is like revitalized and he wants to go on a 2-year.
I wonder where they're going to send him.
Do they have full authority of where they send you?
Yeah, well, at least in Book of Mormon, the
Right, which
musical, they just send you wherever they want. So it's like you could go somewhere cool, you could go somewhere rough.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
And it seemed like Lisa was really upset about this because also Jack said that I'm really different from you and Dad. And I think Lisa interpreted that as Jack is like religious and he doesn't think that his parents are in good standing.
He thinks that they belong in that outer layer of hell.
The outer darkness. I think he thinks they're in the second layer,
Okay.
not the one that. And that is, yeah. I grew up in a religious household, so I like all of the religion aspect of Salt Lake City because I don't think there's not a lot of like religion talk in other franchises, but this city just is so embedded with religion that it's like interesting to see these dynamics play out.
Right. I kind of wish it was more. Like,
I think it's a lot.
you think
I think it's very it's Whitney's full storyline last season,
Yeah.
and one of her big storylines. Heather obviously wrote a book fully about it.
Yeah.
We saw glimpses of Mary's church, which isn't even a Mormon church; it's like a Baptist
dude,
church.
I feel like she's going to like go to jail next. She scares me.
She really, because she didn't go to the reunion. First of all, I want to talk about Mary a lot. Mary didn't go to the reunion and then,
Yeah.
and then was asked back. That's pretty powerful.
But
'Cause usually,
no Snowflake. She's not in the
oh
intro.
really? Oh, she's a friend of.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
I had
that.
to check.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So Monica and Angie got upgraded to full time.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's good for Mary. I actually prefer her being more friend of because she's so bad on cast trips. She doesn't want to do anything to doing.
She
doesn't
like drags everyone down.
I also don't think any of them are legitimate friends with Mary.
No.
Even Meredith.
Yeah, when she was at that party, everyone was like,
Yeah. No. Yeah. They're kind of like shocked by her. I think. Yeah. But I guess Mary did kind of get away from all of the like embezzling from the church. I mean, would you ever, I think we've talked about this before, but would you ever be stoked if you went to a church and your pastor was rolling up in a Ferrari and was dressed to the nines in Gucci? And
yeah, I would be like, look at her many blessings.
right.
I'm going
But
to follow her lead.
You think so? Yeah, I just think
Be
that
like, I'm going to be like her.
yeah, to me, like nothing is more suspicious. Like, how could you do that? You know that your
You're a
congregants,
man of the cloth. Come on.
right? Like your congregants are putting money into the I forget what it's called, the
Yeah.
thing, your basket,
Yeah.
and you look seemingly really wealthy.
Do you think Mary watches Righteous Gemstones?
I think she really likes it. What kind of programs do you think Mary does like?
Yeah, that's a good question.
No one asks her any questions. So it's okay. You're right. Okay, so she didn't go to the reunion, and not even for a really good reason. I now that I watched season 2, I was like, I mean, there was kind of scrutiny, but not as not as horrible as Jen Shaw. Obviously, like she could have.
She's truly just like an odd woman.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are funny, quotables from her and stuff. And I guess it's funny the way that people respond to her and like are scared of her. But she's truly like weird.
Yeah. In a way that's like I fully could imagine that her congregants treat her like a god. Like all those allegations sounded true to me.
Yeah.
And obviously something is wrong with the amount of money she's receiving from her church if
Right.
she's able to have a lifestyle like that.
Right. It's very strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to her little bit soon. There was a Heather update. She was shoveling snow in her boots. She does an update that her book was a bestseller. She opened a second location of Beauty Lab and Laser. She bought a new house.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. I was so
I'm
excited.
like, okay, girl.
Yeah, no, she's killing it.
I do like her storyline of like trying to bounce back after her divorce. Like she's very honest about being scared about paving a new path for herself by herself, and like I don't know, there's something like endearing about her.
Oh, for sure.
Despite any annoying things that come up.
Yeah, no, I think she's great. I think she's honest. I think she usually has the right take on every situation. She's very funny. She's an organic friend, to Whitney, and I think she tries with Lisa and Meredith. you know? Well, her and Meredith are good.
Yeah, she came and visited her.
Right. What do you think about the Heather and Whitney dynamic continuing this long, the simmering feud, fracture?
I want it to be over. It's more fun to watch them together than apart.
Yeah. So because I just went through season 3, I sort of felt like Whitney was grasping at straws a little bit with how she was trying to generate this feud
When they were fighting in lingerie.
Yeah. I know what Heather did to insult Whitney. She definitely downplayed the trauma that Whitney
that was
brought up.
bad.
But in Heather's defense, I do think she obviously cares about Whitney and cared about. It was just she kind of had she just said something wrong. She said that Whitney tried to make this like Jen Shaw trip about herself. It was just like ill-timed. But then I think Whitney made a mountain out of a molehill and then kept going with it. And then to the point where towards the end of the season, Heather's like, what are you trying to say? When do I not listen to you? What did I do wrong? And like Whitney can't spat it out. I feel like this is more one-sided. Like Whitney is creating, a rift between her and Heather. And Heather is just sort of like, is burned because Whitney did this to her. Whitney is like, trying to sully the relationship in a way, which I don't think was, I don't think Heather really, besides the one ill-timed comment really perpetuated anything in their friendship like that.
Did you feel like, since you just watched the last season, did you feel like it was implied that, again, slander, whatever, I'm just saying, that Whitney's abuse was perhaps at the hands of her father? Do you think that was the implication?
Yeah. Yes. I think that, yes, I think it was, well, I wasn't sure if it was father or if it was like a uncle figure or something. I wasn't.
Because, yeah, it was like, once she met up with, was it her step brother?
I think
that's
so.
when I felt like they weren't saying who, but I'm like, you guys have someone in common. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And I do think that if that was the one piece of evidence that Whitney had against Heather to be like, you were not helpful during that time, then I understand that.
Yeah.
But I do think Heather, once she realized it, like she did apologize, but it was almost like it was just never enough and not enough for Whitney.
Yeah.
Like she can't get over it. But I want them back together.
Totally.
Like you.
They were fun together.
Yeah.
What did they call themselves later? Buzzin' Cousins or
Buzzin'
something?
Cousins. Yeah, I really like that.
Okay, I also cannot deal with this bathtub drama.
Yeah.
I like, can we just skip this altogether? This is dumbass.
I wanted to ask you if you remember, which you might not, but when the Jin Shah indictment goes down in season 2, and everybody shows up, and Meredith had already been at the house,
Yeah.
and they all show up, and Meredith was in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Why was she?
It felt like she thought it was going to be a fun visual.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was sort of
Like she was like, I don't even care about this. I'm going to take a bubble bath.
because she knew she was expecting company. She knew that company, when they would be arriving, she's with production. She knew that this had happened. It just seemed like the worst timing to take a bath unless you just wanted an iconic moment.
Yeah.
And then since then, bathtubs have become her thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is not fun. I don't like when someone has a trope
Right.
and they're like, bathtubs are my thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, she even said about Whitney's comment, she goes, don't go after my bathtub.
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't think, because the moment wasn't organic and I didn't understand at all why Meredith was in the bathtub because she knew when everyone was coming. So it's like, it was pointed that you did that I don't think that should be your thing.
Yeah.
I think you should do it once and make it iconic and then never talk about it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I liked that Heather was like, wait, I literally can't tell if you're kidding or not about being pissed about this.
Yeah, I like
like
that
they were
too.
like laughing about it, and then she was like, oh, you're like actually mad.
Yeah, that was interesting. She has to really gauge if like this is something that Meredith cares about. Do you like Seth?
I don't really care.
Okay.
I don't have a firm opinion.
I think he's kind of overly performative on camera.
Okay.
And really trying to like go for it every time he has
Get
a scene.
in the mix.
Yeah.
Has he wasn't on yet, this one, the new one, was he?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
He's so he
Okay.
did good so far.
I'll reassess. Then they go to Meredith Marks' store. Mary Cosby comes in. She says that she's basically cut everyone off except Meredith. And here she's like, yeah, like Robert's good. Robert Jr.'s good. Robert Jr. has a girlfriend, but everyone keeps saying it's his wife. And the producer goes, you don't know? And she's like, no. And she's like, why don't you ask him? And she's like, I haven't had a chance to ask him. They're like, you guys live in the same house. You don't know if your son got married?
Yes.
Isn't he like a teenager?
I forget how old he is, but yeah, that's just another like interesting glimpse into Mary's home
She's
life.
a freak.
She also said Robert Sr. has been gone for 6 months in Vegas or whatever. Yeah.
Her life is insane.
Yeah, and then she wants to get caught up to speed from Meredith or whatever, and she's like, I'm in dinosaur mode. Like, she knows nothing about what's been going on, I guess, over the last year.
Yeah.
But she did say that it's been great to have a break from these, cast members.
Yeah. Yeah, she said she believes in karma regarding Jen. She's like, you're going to get what you deserve. And Meredith reveals she hasn't reached out to Jen.
Yeah.
I like that she kind of implied that there was no way to get in touch with someone in
Yes.
prison.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, they're sitting there waiting for you to call them or write to
Right.
them.
Like we were able to write Jen Shaw a letter. It was easy as hell. She read it. She loved it. Like,
yeah, she was like, yeah, she's in jail. What do you want me to do?
Well,
which I'm
they're-
like, you don't have to reach out, but don't act like you can't reach out.
So both Heather and Meredith have a lot of explaining to do in regards to Jen Shaw. They were both ride or die. I mean, they're the people that went to New York with Jen
Yeah.
as her friends. And I feel like the whole cast sort of turned a blind eye to what she did, and they said they thought she's innocent and
Yeah.
they hoped she was innocent, but I think all of them deep down knew that she was most likely guilty.
Right.
But
She got a way easier ride from her cast than Erica Jane did.
oh yeah.
Like,
they were
it was funny watching them basically at the same time. Those two
Yeah.
things were happening at the same time. And Erica, you know, whether or not what level of guilt you think she has, I'm just saying, like, the cat, it never stopped getting brought up.
Right.
Like, every single event.
And it would have been such a, like, I'm not saying like they're strategic or whatever, but it would have been an entertaining route to take to be a staunch Jen Shaw, what's that called? Like where you were the one saying that Jen Shaw most likely did this. I mean, Meredith
Right.
sort of started out, but then by the end of the season, she was like Jen Shaw's number
Yeah.
one fan. Like
Right.
I just feel like no one took the route of being like, I totally think Jen
Right.
Shaw did this.
Whitney,
I think it's
like,
awful.
kind of did, where she started to get into like the logistics of the law
Yeah.
about it. Remember, she like knew about, you know, how all that stuff worked, and she started to like ask questions in a way that no one else really
She
did.
did, but then they all get like deflated. Like by the reunion, Andy goes, "Who of you thinks Jen Shaw's guilty?" And like none of them raise their hand. Like
Right.
not even Whitney.
Yeah.
It just would have been. I wish that whoever had legitimate concerns would have been brave enough to be like, I totally think she did it.
Yeah.
I heard her say really weird stuff one time on the phone. Her relationship with his assistant, like how
Yeah.
does she have all their money? Whitney did. She
Yeah.
started, but then she didn't want to go all the way with it.
Right.
And then now Heather and Meredith were like ride or die. And then now they're like, you know, we were betrayed or whatever.
Right.
You know, they were like, we had no
Yeah.
idea. It's like, Heather, you did know. You
Yeah.
just like, they were like blinded by their love of Jen, and Jen
Right.
is so powerful.
I know, it really seems like people are scared of her.
Yeah.
Remember when she took that Uber and then like tuck and rolled out of it
Yeah.
and like got in another car?
Yeah, yeah. Opened the car door while it was still running and rolled out of
She
it.
did like a full Mission Impossible and like hopped into another moving car.
Yeah. So I think it is like if Jen Shaw does come back, like say in 3 years, if Bravo decides to employ her, you know,
Yeah.
if she gets out on good behavior or whatever, there's gonna be hell to pay
Oh, yeah.
when Jen Shaw comes back.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how if she'll be humbled, the way that Teresa briefly was, but only for a very short amount of time.
You think that do you think that Jen Shaw is a person? I haven't read up on this, but like I know she pleaded guilty, and so Heather and Meredith take that as like, okay, she admitted guilt. Like no one would admit guilt if they didn't
Right.
do it. But I feel like Jen Shaw, when she comes back, is going to create an ambivalence that she had to plead guilty
Right.
for the penalty. You know,
Sure.
So there is going to be some, what's that called? Like she's going to come back with a full
Downplay
story
it.
about
Yeah.
why she pled guilty.
Right.
And
I'm sure.
And she really tried to throw Stuart in the muck with her. She tries
Yeah.
to blame him like he's this rat. That,
Yeah.
Like, and they had one of the most beautiful relationships on the show. Like they were so sweet to each other, and then she
Yeah.
fully burns him.
Yeah. I know. That's why this stuff with Monica
Oh, right.
is exciting, because it sounds like she just blatantly asked Monica to put certain accounts in her own name.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yes.
I just quickly want to say that Mary Cosby didn't like her salad because she said it was spicy.
Yep. She said it was spicy, 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 and what goes in or whatever goes out the other way. And that's one of those things.
It
where
wasn't
Meredith,
even arugula. It was spinach.
I don't know what the hell was going on. And Meredith, that's when Meredith just sort of like smiles politely and is like, that's Mary. Like, this is this person that I claim as my friend.
Yeah.
But then, we get to a very good scene where Lisa, Angie K, and Monica sit down.
Yeah.
And normally I would be, if it's two new cast members and Lisa, I would be like, probably bored with the scene because I don't like them yet. I don't know them. But I actually thought Monica, just from this one scene, I was like, damn, this is great casting.
Yeah.
Like she was fun immediately. She had a good story. Like you said, she had ties to the cast. Like she already had talked to Lisa on the phone when Jen Shaw didn't want to talk to Lisa anymore.
Right.
So she would pick up the conversation for her.
Yeah. It was interesting that was Jen's assistant because as far as housewives go, not to be classist, but the glamour associated with being a housewife, it's interesting that very recently she was just another housewife's assistant.
Oh, do you mean like that's a huge leap forward?
Yeah, just like she worked underneath
Yeah.
another housewife.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think
Well, it's kind of like baller in that, like, it's almost like upstairs, downstairs. Like she's
yes.
revealing the secrets.
Yeah, right. But
But I just mean usually there's a guise of wealth
yeah.
or
Well,
whatever.
I mean, if that's a sticking point for why they're trying to bring people on and not letting non-wealthy people on, you need to burn that.
Well, like we were just
rule.
saying last week, it feels like that's less and less what the show is about.
Yeah.
Whereas that was kind of the whole thing at the beginning.
Yeah. The service was good. I mean, Monica was like, it was like she was already brave enough to talk shit about Lisa, but it didn't feel like when a new cast member just comes in and tries to have drama instantly.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of just like, this is my legitimate viewpoint on this person. And then they give Lisa this like long talk edit, which I don't think I knew that Lisa was talks all the time or whatever. But then
Right.
she's doing it right in front of Monica at the time, talking about how she's into like maritime stuff. Or
Right.
whatever.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
She was even doing it to her husband earlier in the car. She was talking his damn ear off.
Yes.
And I was like, he's a good husband. He didn't talk at all. Like,
No, he seems pretty silent.
yeah. So yeah, Jen asked her to put stuff in her name. She became a witness in the trial after she had called a friend in the Secret Service who he told her, like, he was basically like, get out of there. Like,
Yeah, so-
she will be going to jail.
So that's the one piece of information where I'm like, did you call a Secret Service person? Did you tell them about this? And then
Right.
it became part of an ongoing
Right.
case? Or potentially, she could have been like someone who got the ball rolling.
Totally. Yeah. And then it sounds like she'll have some fun personal life stuff. Like
Yes.
she had an entanglement while she was married. They got divorced, but then they got married again, and now are getting divorced again. And then in the preview clip, they bleep what she did, but she says something about having had sex with a blank for 18 months. And I don't know what the fill in the blank is going to be.
Who said blank?
Monica, they like bleep it.
Oh, right.
And I don't know. That was in like the original trailer too.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, I mean, could it be more shocking than Mary marrying her grandfather,
Yeah.
step-grandfather?
Yeah, right. Like probably not. But she also like the music starts to get tense at this scene. I was like, what is
I
going
know,
on?
it
It was
was
normal,
weird.
and then it was that Monica says that from Jen, she knows all these dark secrets about all the cast members that have yet to be revealed. And so she's the entire time Lisa's talking, she's thinking about there must be like infidelity that she's alluding to, right? Or an open relationship or something.
Yeah.
And then also she says that Jen Shaw used to talk so much shit about Heather, which was
Yeah.
like Heather was her best friend.
Yeah.
Heather was so good to Jen.
Yeah. She was like, but everything Jen said was bullshit. So,
Right. So
I'll,
she doesn't really know. Yeah.
figure out my own opinion.
Right.
Okay, so then we get to the fresh start party. Mary Cosby's there. Lisa brings Angie. Lisa reads all of her texts from Mary from the past, and they're pretty funny.
Amazing.
I only wrote down one, but one of them was, "You'll kill people with your nasty tequila."
You're a witch. And then it ends with, you're a horrible human being. And Mary sends these to everyone. Like she has told all the cast members the worst things before. She just texts people like that regularly.
And then they cut to Mary. She's like, "I'm happy to be here with Lisa." Like she just like doesn't care. She's
Right.
like, whatever.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay, and then Mary and Heather talk about Jen a little bit. Heather says she feels like a weight has been lifted now that she doesn't have to, I don't know, be a henchman for Jen, I guess.
Yeah.
Which we'll see if she can stand on her own.
Sort of, though, throwing that relationship under the bus, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because
pretending it didn't exist.
You should have to reap what you sow a little bit. You were ride or die for Jen. She pled guilty. She did these horrific things, and now you're like, oh no, secretly there was all this, horribleness in our relationship, and I'm so glad it's over. It's like, no, I think you just chose the wrong side,
right?
And you weren't brave enough to stand up to Jen. You probably were skeptical of her.
Yeah, she was like, we weren't that close.
Yeah, like it's like not true at all. And then Mary, actually, I think this is when it happens.
Yeah,
Mary confronts Heather, and she goes, "That must have been a real shock to you when Jen went away because you guys were so close." And
she's
Heather's
like, "You had a real connection."
And Heather's like, "Oh no, there was actually some underlying stuff." And Mary goes, "No. I know what you guys were. That must have been really shocking for you." I love that Mary doesn't give a shit.
Held her to it. Yeah. Meredith and Lisa talk about reconciling. It seems like maybe that'll be
I'm
fine.
ready.
I don't know.
I'm ready for that. Meredith has held this grudge for too long.
Yeah.
I think after watching that rant, I've seen it multiple times now. It just seemed like Lisa flew off the handle in a blackout rage and just said every single horrible thing she could think of about Meredith. And it's like, you apologize, you work on. I mean, Lisa's not doing the best job of like fully apologizing and like really pining for Meredith to like get that relationship back. But I just do think it's like probably time for them to reconcile.
Yeah. And then I thought it was funny that no one there had read Heather's book.
Yeah, that is so mean. That is so...
Wouldn't you want to read it? Like, wouldn't you be curious?
Whitney not reading Heather's book.
Yeah.
That is almost like I think that Heather could write off Whitney forever.
Yeah.
It's your cousin.
Yeah.
This is a person you loved.
And she's like obsessed with like taking down the Mormon church. Wouldn't you be interested?
Yeah, it's awful of Whitney specifically. I don't mind that Lisa didn't read it. I don't mind that Meredith didn't read it. I mean, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, it's really mean to not support her business when she goes to all of your shit and you guys can't read an audiobook.
Lisa's like, oh, well, now that you said something nice about me, she was like, I'm going to open Amazon on my phone and buy a copy. I'm like, you don't even have a copy?
Awful. And Whitney specifically, I can't say it enough.
Yeah.
Whitney not reading her cousin's book went like after everything you've your relationship you've had after all this time is so mean spirited.
Yeah.
It's not supporting Heather in any way.
Yeah. Then this is their buzzin' cousins conversation. This is when they start talking about Special K, which I forgot was a thing in the storyline. And then Meredith confronts Whitney about the bathtub situation, which I'm like, literally, who cares?
Yeah, that was I would say that was the one weak spot in this episode. It seemed like Meredith just wanted a moment and wanted to make...
She tried to call it a dig on her marriage.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And Whitney was just clarifying, it's just fun shade or whatever. And then that's when Meredith says, well, I could have definitely brought up the fact that you had painterly sex with your husband, on camera.
Yeah, she's like, there was probably like germs in your vagina.
Which, I mean, fair point.
Yeah.
If Whitney's poking fun at a creepy bathtub scene,
Sure.
you have the wildest thing,
Sure.
On camera.
I mean, it is there is a line to be drawn between the difference between taking a sexy bath and taking a bath to clean yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
But then Whitney got in a dig about, she's like, I assume that Meredith's house is very clean because she only lives in rental properties. I was like, and then they show all 4 of the different rental properties. I was like, that's a burn.
A very good burn, and it most likely means that Meredith just comes to Salt Lake City for filming.
Totally. Yeah.
Which I think was
I think
is the rumor.
it's like the quiet secret.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she just comes there for filming.
Which, fine, whatever.
Angie K had sort of... I didn't really like Angie K last season. I'm like kind of surprised she became a full-time cast member. I think she should have stayed
She reminds me of like Kim G. Like
yes, I know.
Those people.
Yes. It's like a friend of that got promoted, I think, before they should have.
Mm-hmm.
I think she should have stuck around a little while in the friend of capacity. She has a ass kiss moment with Lisa where she says that she would read Heather's book, but it should be signed by Lisa.
Oh, right.
I was like, that's awful to say to Heather.
Yeah. Heather's like, why are you even here? You're not invited.
Right.
And then there's just a montage of them throwing snowballs at each other, screaming.
I thought that was so fun.
I was laughing.
Because I already liked the episode, and I thought it was like really great. Like I loved everything about it. It felt so fun to be back with these cast members. It felt like I love the fresh start idea. Like I'm ready to just start from scratch and see what new relationships form. But it was just so funny to have all of their like pent up aggression at each other come through the snowball fight, and the way they edited it with a drone
music.
shot.
It was like,
and I love the music on Salt Lake City. I think it is so fun, and it was just like they really. that could have been such an embarrassing cringe moment on another franchise where they're like doing an activity that is so lame and it sucks. But for some reason, I know that there's a lot of pent up aggression with this cast, and they do sort of, they want to hit each other, from their past.
Yeah. And their screams, the way they put the effects on their screams
was so fun. Heather said it's fully Lord of the Flies out here, and it does look like it's. Whitney starts to throw as hard as she can, like it's just.
Which she says they definitely haven't even read Lord of the Flies either.
Right. Yeah, that was great.
How much do you think they paid for those snowballs? The service of those.
I'm
snowballs
not sure.
Put together?
Probably not very much. I don't think it required very, very much. And then, did you see when Monica, to complete her trajectory as a great first episode participant, she tackled Angie K to the ground as hard as humanly possible, and they started rolling around in the snow.
That was insane.
Yeah.
They show that in like the preview of the season, Monica says that she was excommunicated.
Whoa.
Which that'll be interesting.
Very interesting.
But yeah.
I mean, I was like stoked on this.
Okay.
I think because we're in a little bit of a flop era with the other stuff that we're watching. So I'm
You're
like,
give me something to talk about.
But I do like all of these cast members. Like, it's so different from RHONY, where I like don't want to watch 1 minute of any of those other cast members. Like, I am interested in what Lisa's doing, Whitney, Heather. Mary is good in small doses, so I think that was a great decision.
Yeah.
Because she hates being around these people.
Yeah.
But I love when she can just she says whatever's on her mind. She'll confront people. So she's great. And then Monica is an amazing addition because of what she knows about Jen. So it's like this has a strong chance of being a great season.
Yeah, I think strong showing from Monica at the start. So
yeah,
that's hopefully good. And then we still haven't even gotten her firm foundation is the Jen Shaw connection, but sounds like there's going to be all kinds of family drama on her end too, and church drama.
Yes. And imagine when the cast finds out Monica's, what was going on behind the scenes in Jen's house as her assistant.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Good. Do you think there's any way that Jen Shaw could have been a part of this season? I know she's in prison, and I know Bravo probably doesn't want someone who did such an egregious felony, perpetuated fraud on vulnerable people. But there are ways that Jen Shaw could have phone calls from prison and stuff. Do you think that they thought about that at all?
Maybe someone will call her at some point and it'll be on camera.
I mean, a visit to see Jen Shaw in prison, is that on the table?
I don't think they could show that on Atlanta. Whenever Phaedra would visit Apollo and stuff, they would have to just wait in the car.
You're right. So they could talk about all about the lead up and then go and then say what they said.
Yeah.
Have them call somebody and say what was said. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it varies prison to prison, but
yeah. Okay, good. Well, yeah, Salt Lake City was fun. I'm very excited about this season. Do you want to talk about OC?
Sure. Yes. So I know that you enjoyed this episode too. It's called Big News, Bigger Secret. And I was excited at the opening that we got to see an old friend, Dr. Moon.
That was fun. Dr. Moon is so fun. Wait, what was the big news and big secret?
I don't, I guess just Heather's
yes.
sale.
Oh, yeah.
I had to think about that for a second, too.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dr. Moon is having fun. He is pressing on Shannon's stomach. He's pressing on her head. He's saying, how much anger do you carry around with you?
She's going into business with him to do an at-home enema because the one that she used, remember, got stuck up her ass, and David had to fish it out with his bare hands.
Right. Yes. I thought this was so fun that she's partnering with Dr. Moon. This whole scene was great. I was like, whoa, this is kind of
Should we buy the Dr. Moon collab
I wanted
enema?
I was going to ask if we could do it on an episode of Turtle Time.
Okay.
Would you want to? They said that, the plastic piece now is going to be easier to remove from the anus, right?
They just had to leave in David saying, it's still under my fingernails. It's like, Jesus Christ. Their marriage couldn't survive that.
No. Do you think Dr. Moon is Shannon's primary physician?
Probably. Should we go to Dr. Moon?
I would love to.
Just see what he has to say.
I just think he's good for general, health updates. You probably get a good...
He can poke around, let us know if our liver's in check, stuff like that.
And I didn't remember the Dr. Moon moment with Vicky where she's like, Doctor, he's touching me, you know, or whatever. And Shannon's like, yeah, he just has a touch on your back or whatever. No, she's like, no, his fingers are in my butthole. You saw that part? Like,
Vicky is so like, she just, anything that's like, she thinks everything is weird.
Right.
Like anything that is not like about Jesus Christ or like a regular doctor is like woo woo, like like outrageous to her.
Yeah. So she
like
might have
anything
played it up
that's
a little
like a sound bath is like satanic to her.
You're right.
Like Dr. Moon is like a quack.
Yeah.
Like everything is
you're
just
right. She's
like,
probably playing up like her comfort level there.
Okay, then Jen, they integrate, she's making cookies with her mom. Her mom is set to finally meet Ryan.
Yes.
They're sort of they're crying about the divorce.
Yeah, so Jen is hesitant to let Ryan meet family, and the mom.
Fair enough.
Yes, and the mom was very hesitant to meet Ryan after, because she had a really good relationship with Will, Jen's ex. So, and also Jen is scared of what her mom's opinion will be of Ryan. So now she's finally in town or whatever, and they're sort of talking about that. It seems like the mom really loves Jen and has always been there for her, but this thing has been traumatic for the family, and she sort of kept her distance. But the mom seems really sweet, and they tee up that Ryan is going to meet her, but I don't think that happens in the scene yet.
Yeah. Have you been seeing all of the, drama at Burning Man?
Yeah.
A lot of the videos I've seen are from Dr. Deb, Bronwyn's mom.
Really?
Who's a huge burner.
She's updating people?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really fun. I get Bronwyn's mom and Lydia's mom confused.
Okay.
Are they sort of similar spirits?
In a way, but Bronwyn's mom seems a lot more cuckoo.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
All right.
She just seemed like a worse mom.
Have you been watching Bronwyn's mom's updates?
I've seen a few. It was like the first one I saw about what was going on there with like the mud and everything, but I haven't I think people are starting to leave now, or maybe they can't leave. I have to check in.
They were like waiting for like 6 hours, but I think everybody got out.
Okay.
Bronwyn, I felt like had a lot more to give.
Yeah.
I didn't really, I mean, everyone hated her, which fine.
She really like permeated gossip culture. Like she got reported on a lot in like mainstream gossip news.
Yeah, and then I think Andy was asked about it, and he said that Bronwyn didn't seem like she was in a good mental health space, that she shouldn't continue on the show. But which
she said she had like depression, right? That was part of her storyline.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, whatever, like pursue whatever you want, but her husband seemed like a nice guy to me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he did.
Anyways, okay, so now the HD party for the first lifestyle network on the Fireside app.
So the first lifestyle network. So Heather not only gets a show on Fireside, she gets a full network.
Right.
Full network. And she says this is the first interactive streaming service in existence, which, if I remember correctly, I think Netflix has definitely toyed with interactive shit before. Like they had the Black Mirror where you could like choose your own adventure and stuff. I guess she means like the audience participation of it,
right?
Where like you can hear the audience clapping and whistling.
I cannot be bothered to ever.
And I looked at it the last time
that.
this shit was brought up, and I forgot to look at it again today. But it was absolute garbage when I looked at it. I'm gonna look at it because I'm so interested in this.
Yeah.
It's just like Heather has a network of shows, and the way she's talking about this, she's talking about like it's going to revolutionize the world. So I actually liked Tamra poking holes in this thing. Like, what the hell is this shit that you're talking about?
Yeah.
She's like, it's like TikTok Live or Instagram Live. There's nothing revolutionary.
I know, that's what I was like.
This.
Just go on TikTok. Like, just up your presence on TikTok. Like, what?
Yeah, it's very strange, but the party was kind of cool. I liked it. Very nice.
HD. Jen and Tamra accidentally wear the same exact color.
Yes, fully accidental. And then, I mean, can we get into the specifics of the party? Because there's not much else, right? It's like, so Emily says that, which another rumor that Heather spread off camera. Emily is now perpetuating another thing that Heather told her, but there's no evidence of this. Just like Heather supposedly talking shit about Shannon and John, which there's no evidence of at all. So another like more shit on Heather that we haven't seen that I don't know if I fully believe.
Yeah.
Emily says Heather said at BravoCon that
Yeah.
Shannon was talking shit, or I'm sorry, that Heather was. Oh wait. Heather said that Shannon was talking shit about Emily,
Right.
and that, but then couldn't get into the details because it's locked in the vault. And then they show this random clip from BravoCon that had nothing to do.
I was
with
really
that.
confused.
It was just like it was Tamara saying that she is someone who says "fuck you" all the time or whatever. The BravoCon clip was like not good at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then Emily uses this as a way, which I love Emily so much, but I don't think she needed to take a bite out of the Heather apple right now and just use this as fodder for a Heather beef. First of all, why isn't Shannon the recipient of this? I mean, Shannon's not there, but still, you should be mad at Shannon.
Right.
Like, not Heather. She was mad at Heather because Heather couldn't tell her the details of it.
Right.
And we never saw this.
Yeah.
So anyway, Emily decides that in her way to get back at Heather, she's going to be the drunkest she's ever been at her party. And she was drunk.
Oh, yeah.
She was
She
drunk.
was letting loose. They bring out the food underneath these like bell jars, and she's like, "What the fuck is this?" And Heather's like, "It's a cloche."
Yes, she's making fun of everything, anything that could be made. Which this
Caviar.
is
She's like,
like, and I don't know why RHONY can do this, and I think it's the most egregious, horrible thing in the world. But when Emily does it, it's completely fine. It's because I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah.
But Emily making fun of everything was just ridiculous. It's so silly. She's making
she
fun
was
of
out of
caviar.
control.
She's making fun of caviar. She's eating cucumber in a way that it looked like a fruit roll up.
Yeah, she was like, "Is there dressing on this?"
She accuses the salad of having sand in it, which is like the most.
She's like,
Most ridiculous. Then it's like nothing is enough for her. She wants Heather to. She wants to start a fight with Heather.
Yeah.
She wants to start a fight. Heather is doing very good about not engaging.
Yeah.
Then Emily takes it a step too far, even more far. She goes. Are there enough HD network things around here? I am surprised we're not branded on our forehead when we get in here.
Yeah.
And then Heather's just like ignoring her.
even Tamara is like, "Drink water,"
And-
even Gina's like, "Please stop."
Yeah.
Like everyone's like, "Girl."
Yeah.
Did you just love and die for Tamara's prop cucumber?
I loved it.
You did?
I-
I thought you were gonna hate it.
I'm glad you talked about it. I wanted to give Tamara credit.
Okay.
It's possible a producer said, "Put this in your mouth; it'll be really funny." But I liked the first minute of seeing that, and then
There's a PA with like construction
Right.
paper on the side, like
Exactly.
cutting it out.
I think Tamara says a bad joke, like it goes on too long, and she like makes it unfunny. But just the imagery of her doing it was kind of fun. I liked it. I was proud of Tamara for that.
Okay. And then afterwards, they Terry and Heather celebrate. They say goodbye to their OC house, and they dance on the
Yeah.
balcony or whatever.
It was kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I got what you talk about with Terry and Heather while I was watching that, where it's like you're just watching a couple that loves each other, and they did something huge, and they're celebrating. And I did feel the spark of like, it gave off what they were trying to show. Which
It
is
was performative, but I also felt like they wanted to seal that moment. Like it felt like they were using the show as like their like memory bank.
Yes.
And they were like, they wanted to film that scene for themselves.
Exactly right. That's what it felt like. It was like we do want to, exactly. Like have this forever, and this epitomizes what we've been through this season or whatever. And it was nice. And then I think Heather posted the photo of them in the backyard.
Yeah.
And it was sweet. I was proud of them. And
Yeah.
also I just can't help feeling bad for Heather given how awful everyone is treating her. Like we say every week. It's like
Yeah.
Heather has really done nothing this season, and no wonder she doesn't want to talk about her life with you guys. You're
Right.
awful to her.
I know, like the stuff that happens in Mexico, it really just gives, like when Emily's so pissed, it's just giving Emily doesn't like her. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like it's like there's no real reason. She just like pisses her off.
Yeah, I mean, they like even Gina, who like I guess they were supposed to be like friends at the start of the season, and there was like Gina wasn't talking to Heather anymore. I don't think any of them like Heather. Just naturally, it's either jealousy, which even Shannon admits that she's jealous of like that house sale or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
But I don't think they like to be around Heather at all. And then it's sad when they get to Mexico, which is the quickest. We already said it this episode, but it's the quickest 3 minutes of going to a trip in Bravo history. They go, let's go to Mexico for a tequila shot. They do 1 second of them packing the bag. The plane trip, they don't do anything on the plane, and then they're just like in Mexico. And then it's sad. They're on the bus. They're taking a tequila shot, and they all start to choose what rooms they're going to be in because there's 3 rooms, so 2 of them have to be together. And Heather just gets left out like
that was sad.
That's so sad.
She's like, can I join you guys?
Yeah, it's like just no one is treating Heather well at all.
Yeah. Yeah, so Tamra, like at dinner, the sale of the house isn't coming up. So Tamra's just like, all right, like tell us everything. What's going on?
Which this was a good instance of Tamra moving the plot along.
Yeah.
She could have done this and it would have seemed inauthentic and awful, but for this it was just too big, and I'm glad she brought it up.
Yeah.
Like it was right. I mean,
Yeah,
Emily
it was the elephant in the room.
any of them should have taken the chance to do it. I don't know why they hesitated.
Or Heather should have been like, okay, like you guys probably heard,
Right,
like
because it's
whatever.
all over it's in every outlet.
But first she goes for the NDA excuse, which in a normal world would be enough.
Yes.
Like you're like, it was a business deal. It literally just closed. We weren't allowed to say anything until it closed.
Right.
But they were all like offended that she wouldn't break their NDA for her.
Right.
For them.
Which of course they were offended. I mean, they've been offended for things that Heather hasn't done this entire season. So now that they finally have something, they're latching onto it like, the wildfire.
Right.
They want it so bad.
You're then immediately like, yeah, why would she want to fuck with you bitches
Right.
and like
and then,
tell
and
you
she
anything?
even says, you're accusing me of staging paparazzi photos. You're saying that I've been talking all this shit about Shannon and John's relationship. And it's like, why am I going to involve you in my life? We're not friends.
Yeah, it was like she couldn't win. Like Emily was like, I don't know why you care that they accused you of like staging paparazzi photos. And I'm like, Heather didn't really react that strongly about it. She was like, I don't want people to think that, but she wasn't that hot and bothered about it.
She was more just disappointed in Tamra. It's like she just can't
But
rely
it was
on...
like not that big of an issue. So it was weird that Emily brought it up. Like, why do you care? It's like, we were done with that. That was not a big deal.
Yeah.
And they're just going back and forth. And Heather gets pissed. She goes, you're a dick, Emily.
Yeah. I thought that it was good of Heather to push back on Emily. I mean, Emily was awful with really no excuse.
Right. And like Heather, all she said was like, you haven't been very nice to me. And Emily was like pissed that she said that. And it's like, do you think you've been nice to her?
Yeah. And then Gina says, so when Emily justifies why she's mad at Heather, she says, because you told me something about Shannon talking shit at me at BravoCon and then you wouldn't let me know. Gina goes, yeah, I heard that story and I remember it, but I'm pretty sure Heather was talking about Tamra talking shit and not Shannon, right?
Right.
So Emily didn't even get the story right of like why she is mad at Heather.
Right. No, it was dumb. And then I love my favorite thing. They cut to one of the employees of the hotel who in Spanish says, this soap opera is good.
Yeah. I like that.
It was giving Vanderpump Rules kitchen. And then, okay, this was a flop on Heather's part. She tried to accuse Emily of body shaming for calling her wetsuit a whale trainer outfit.
Right.
I was like, that's not about your body. That's about your fashion.
Yeah, and it's one of the funniest things that has been spoken on this season of OC. So,
like,
Emily
was she
had
trying
every
to
right.
like accuse her of like associating her with a whale?
Yeah,
Like it made no fucking sense.
Yeah, I have no clue. I mean, Heather is just more justified in saying you all are awful to me, and like what is going on. Like she really should just sit them all down and say what is happening here. Like I have not done anything.
I mean, it's a coup.
It is. It's a total coup. It's a death by 1,000 knives. They're all coming at her. They all want
Mutiny.
Heather. Yeah, a mutiny. Tamra actually I think I like this episode because Tamra was sort of in the background. I mean, she had the fruit roll up gag, which was good. She properly started the drama at the table by bringing up the sale. Like it was good usage of Tamra and not horrendous usage of Tamra like last week.
Right. And then they're going back and forth. Heather's doing the like karate chop hands to enunciate her sentence. And then Emily's like, just because you do your hands like this doesn't make it true.
Right.
And Andy opened the Watch What Happens Live directly after this episode doing the
he did?
hand motion. Yeah.
Oh, that's really fun. I do think in Emily's defense, if you did want to critique Heather for something, I do think that friendship box thing that she talks about, that Heather asks questions and then just doesn't ever listen to the follow-up and doesn't care, and brings stories back to herself. We saw that earlier this season. Heather does do that. I'm fine if that's Emily's beef, but she's grasping at straws for other things to tear down Heather that are not justified.
Totally. Well, I'm excited for a little Tres Amigas action next week.
Yeah,
we need it.
Yeah, this was fun. I really liked this episode. I thought Emily being drunk and doing all that stuff was like definitely over exaggerated, but still just like silly enough. And I like that Heather had legitimate beef now to go after Emily. Yeah, and I love that they just like appeared in Mexico.
Yeah, I mean they've been to Mexico like 100 times on that show. Like literally, like it's like every season. Yeah, like they always go there.
Good. So OC was fun.
Yeah.
It's been an uneven season and some horrible episodes, but I thought this was good. And I almost think on the strength of this, they almost could be justified in keeping this same cast. Mm-hmm. I mean, because they're only like these grudges. I don't know if Heather's going to stay.
Right.
I don't know if Heather will withstand another season where they're just like all against her and they treat her like shit.
Right.
But I don't know. It's a good group. Yeah. I have fun with all of them.
Totally. Yeah. I agree.
Okay.
Okay. Should we cruise over to Atlanta?
Let's cruise over to Atlanta and cruise through Atlanta and RHONY. Unless you want to talk. Well, I don't know. I mean, however you feel. Yeah.
Let's just do, our highlights from Atlanta. I thought it was pretty entertaining. It opens with a gag of Andy doing a sound bath to prepare.
Yes. Andy, this reunion I felt was very, very silly.
Yeah.
He was having a lot of silly stuff.
Yeah. He was calling everyone out. It was teal gowns. He asked everyone to give him a I am loving awareness, which is a callback to the health charade trip. He says to Candy, I'm glad you weren't too booked and busy to be here, which was fun.
Everybody laughs.
He comments on Sheree's nose job. He gets Marlo to admit she's on Ozempic.
Which, good on Marlo.
I know, I loved it.
I think she's the first one besides
Dolores.
Dolores was very open about it.
Yeah. He was like, you look different. Like, you've lost some weight. And he's like, how did you do it?
Well, he did it very delicately. Like with Sheree, he goes, you look refreshed.
Yeah,
and that's his,
always
like,
what he says. Yeah. And then Marlo's like, I did it the same way everyone else did. The shots.
Yeah. I mean, if we needed any more validation of our theory that every single person who is losing weight in the Real Housewives universe is on Ozempic, this is just more like
just be fucking honest. God.
I thought I'm not a person who would ever think any differently of someone, but what is the shame about this? I didn't think 1 second about Marlo losing weight on Ozempic when she admitted it. It's just not even...
Yeah, who cares? I understand there was a brief area of time when they were saying there was a shortage, so people that are actually diabetic couldn't get their hands on it. But now there's so many iterations of it that to my knowledge, there's not a problem.
All right.
So anyways.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that makes sense. It's justifiable if it was a shortage thing, but I give Marlo a lot of credit for just being honest.
Yeah, she looks good.
Yep.
And then Drew reveals she's still living in the same house as Ralph.
Yes.
And Sonia says she's due on Christmas.
I'm so glad that there was a happy ending here for Sonia, because it was bleak after the finale last week. Like, so sad.
Yeah.
Like couldn't have happened to like someone sweeter and more positive. And then she's already on track for a Christmas baby. Like, I thought that was so sweet.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Yeah, I'm so proud of her.
Then Sheree is kind of up first. She says that Bob, whenever he comes to her house, he never wants to leave, and he just like hangs out forever. Yeah. I'm like, why don't you kick him out? That's weird. And then they call back a moment when Candy said that Sheree looked like Drew in a certain photo. And Sheree goes, she's like, that's like the worst picture I've ever taken. So it's kind of offensive to Drew.
Yeah. I didn't really know what they meant. I mean, I don't
No.
think Sheree looked like Drew.
No, it was weird. But I love that she was like, well, I look like shit in that picture.
Right.
So
Yeah,
is that what you mean?
Yeah, that was fun.
Andy's like, Kenya, please tell me your divorce is final. And she's like, I literally cannot, because now her ex is using Marlo banging on the door on that trip against her in their like custody battle. And she served Marlo a subpoena, which when Andy read it, he goes, this is blank.
Kenya, like,
Flop,
total flop.
prop flop.
Total prop flop, and Kenya's like, okay, sorry, they must have printed out the wrong thing, but there is an actual subpoena. Like, oh man, you went out with that blank subpoena.
So dumb.
Yeah.
And then she's like, just so you know, she's like, you do need to appear for the summons. She's like, you could go to jail if you don't.
Right.
And Marlo's like, are you gonna send me canteen? Like, give her whatever that's called, the commissary, when you get
right.
cash to buy like cup of noodle or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I like that too. I do think that Marlo is a little too subdued this reunion.
Yeah.
I think she wants to be perceived as a positive person and doing beautiful things, and I don't know what the right word for that is, but she wants to be perceived in one way, and she's capable of reading people to filth. She's capable of slamming doors down. Like, I'm not sure why she doesn't want to just embrace villainy in a way.
Right.
Like, why? Like, she's good at it. She's
Yeah.
so funny. She gets under the cast's skin. Kenya, I don't think Kenya's ever hated anyone more than Marlo ever in her life.
Yeah.
And normally that would be good, because Marlo would be giving it back and they would have this horrible feud.
Yeah.
But Marlo is just like letting all insults at her roll off, because I think she wants to be I think she wants to just be perceived differently than what she could really give if she wanted to. Yeah. And it makes her just it like she loses a lot of her power by not like going in.
Right. Yeah, she's kind of like flip-flops.
Do you think so? Like, I feel like she wanted to rebrand herself halfway through the season, and this is more of like the I help people and I'm on a mental health journey, and I don't know, it's just not it
feels like whenever she goes off on someone, it's because she lost control, not because she's necessarily doing it intentionally or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible. I just felt like I felt a real absence of Marlo's spirit at the reunion, and she was kind of just letting Kenya like say horrible stuff about her.
Yeah. She did kind of take a back seat.
Yeah.
I forget what made them talk about this, but Andy says that Sheree has a very interesting relationship with Bills, which was shady.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like Candy was like, "Oh my god," when he said that. And then Sheree had like her and Candy were going back and forth. Like, she printed out a comment from Instagram. She was saying that Candy's restaurants have greasy floors.
Yes. So Sheree came to play in regards to Candy, which I wasn't 100% sure, because we didn't see this energy this season.
Like, I was like, you guys are like fully feuding? Candy calls her a low down, dirty ass bitch.
Oh yeah. It's like they couldn't be worse right now. I mean, yeah, it was awful. And so Sheree made one comment about that guy Johnny who tried to sue Candy because he said that he created the idea for Old Lady Gang.
Oh, right.
And then that just sets it off. It's like Sheree and Candy are fully fighting. Then that's when Sheree brings out She News, which is just 8 pages of slander. I mean, not slander, but just horrible reviews about Candy's restaurant and the health code violations, the bad reviews.
Yeah, it was so like down and dirty. Like right before the She News part, they were just going back and forth about each other's surgeries.
Yes.
And then Sheree's like, you need to focus on your business. And Candy's like, I do. And she's like, well, obviously not. You guys keep having shootings. And I was like, oh my God, like you guys. And like the unbridled joy on Andy's face when he saw She News, he was like a kid at Christmas. He was so excited.
He was stunned by it. He was like, this is going to BravoCon. He was like, I'm definitely keeping my copy. He loved it. He goes, I'm going to be on the mailing list for this. I want every issue. He loved it.
He kept bringing it up throughout. He was like, this will be in the next issue of She News. He thought it was like so camp.
He really gave, though, I mean, like the prop the amount of props in future reunions now is going to skyrocket for the next 5 years because of his joy over She News.
Totally. And Kenya's like, why didn't you put me on the cover? And Sheree's like, I couldn't find a good picture.
Yeah, but then she walked
But
it
then
back.
she was like, no, I mean, because there's so many good pictures. I was like, what?
And how would Kenya have been why would Kenya have been on the front cover when it's all about, disparaging Candy's restaurants?
And it's literally all just about how OLG and tags are like utter trash.
Yes.
And then Sheree brings out a bag with She by Sheree stuff in it that has a clapper, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Like
a slate.
a slate that says "and scene."
I didn't really get that because that was kind of a fun Candy moment.
Right.
Why was Sheree trying to highlight a good Candy moment in the bag?
It was weird. And then Candy was like, "Who's been helping you with your reads this year? Like,
I love
who
that.
did you pay?"
I mean, that's begrudging respect.
Yeah.
She came with a bag to give to Drew.
Is that like an open secret that they all have ghostwriters?
Well, I think we read in Not All Diamonds and Rose, no, or maybe the other one, Brian, what was his name? Moylan. He says that producers often give lines, like takes, for them to say sometimes. And Nene and Lisa obviously need no help. They come up with 10 times better lines than anyone else. But I do think there's help in confessionals. And I wouldn't put it past Sheree for to outsource things you should say at the reunion, what you should do. I mean, she obviously had help with this.
Yeah. It was like how
I would love to be a helper for reunion reads or how to portray things. Punch up jokes. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
That would be so
It's
fun.
like how Brad Pitt's Oscar speech was definitely outsourced.
Oh, it was?
To it just was giving late night. It was very
jokes.
well
I'm sure.
orchestrated.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Also, I just want to say, so Andy banged a gong at one point when no one would pay attention to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe they should always have a gong.
Yeah, it's kind
for
of
when
fun.
shit gets out of control.
I think it doesn't have to be a gong, but it should be one
An
thing
air horn.
so that Andy doesn't have to get to that place he was in New Jersey where he had a fit and screamed.
That was insane.
He was so pissed.
Shut up!
The most pissed I've ever seen him, and it feels like almost this is a response to that. I think he loves being in this environment, and he loves the cast members on Atlanta, but also I feel like he's doing a little bit of I don't know, maybe he's just in a better mood, but he was definitely just silly, playful, fun. He really got into it.
Yeah, he was happy.
Yeah.
Drew talks about the movie. She kind of flip-flops. She says that she thought the Candy and Todd movie was top tier, but then she previously said she would never do a movie like that again.
Yeah.
But then she was talking about her SAG rate and how usually she would make more.
Yeah, her agent passed on the project, which is pretty wild. And it was most likely non-union.
Right.
But if she's in SAG, you can't work on a non-union project.
Right. You'll get penalized.
Yeah.
Majorly.
So I don't know what happened, but I assume they had to pay her the SAG minimum, and then they were all saying $10,000, which the SAG day rate is $1,000 for a principal actor. So if she worked 10 days, $10,000 is probably what she got,
right?
Which is low. I mean, so
Candy
low for a movie.
Denied that, but
Candy was she wasn't so wholehearted in her
she was like, we paid her more than that.
Yeah, I think she almost was like, I think we paid her more than that.
Right.
I thought Drew, it's kind of awful of Drew to bring this talk about the quality of the past. I think it was pretty offensive, and Candy's been so good to Drew and really likes her and supports her. So I was bummed out, and it feels like Candy now is. I mean, she said the most egregious thing in the world. She says that now with the amount of time, so they're all united in saying that Drew is a liar, which we've known Drew to be a liar too. She definitely tries to look better in every situation, but
everyone's she's like, where's the lie? And everyone's like, well, literally every single person's like, well, you lied on me, you lied about this, you lied about that.
If all of them are unanimous, even Kenya and Candy, that Drew lies, she's a liar. I mean, you can't I can't believe Drew if they all think this about her. It was a
Drew's a liar.
Drew's a liar. Yeah, and I forget what I was saying, but then
Candy goes, she's like, you've been saying this whole time that Ralph was gaslighting you, but now I believe that you were gaslighting him,
right?
Which is fucked up.
totally fucked up, a huge accusation.
Yeah.
And then Drew is sort of stunned that Candy brought it to that level. I think she thought maybe this was in the level of fun shade, or that Candy and her were ultimately good.
Yeah.
But then Drew checks in, like, pause production. Candy, I want to make sure that you and I are good. And Andy goes, "You're not good. She just accused you of possibly gaslighting Ralph."
Yeah.
As opposed to the other way around. So Drew got, I was kind of brutal. It was like, I think
I know. I'm like, what planet are you on?
Yeah.
What do you think is happening?
I mean, do you think you can insult production of Candies and talk about low pay, and that she would like forgive you
Business
immediately?
is number one.
Right.
Yeah. So
Are we at the Courtney?
yes.
Courtney coming out.
Oh my gosh,
Courtnney
she's
provided.
scary.
So immediately, I loved this. This was kind of a funny prop, even though Drew
Flopped.
flopped completely.
Another
but
prop
it-
flop.
It was another prop flop, but Courtney comes out and Drew goes immediately, like within 1 second, she goes, "Hey, since you're coming out really strong here, I got something for you." She goes, "Since you want a peach so bad," and she gives her a plum, and
It
so,
should have been like a lemon.
right. I mean, but a plum, for some reason, I never think about plums, and the plum to a peach is a very good parallel, because it is like a shitty peach or whatever. I just thought a plum was very funny and random.
Yeah.
I almost think like whoever helped Sheree with hers, like they helped Drew with that. But then it just lands on Marlo's dress.
She gets
and
so mad.
Marlo's legitimately mad. She goes, "Don't throw anything from your side over here and get it on my dress."
Yeah.
Like she was pissed.
Yeah. She was like triggered.
And then Courtney immediately, the cousin through line gets parsed by
Yeah.
Andy, and he goes, "So this is a very tenuous relationship." Did you write down what it was? It was like, it was. It was, I don't even know. Ralph's dad.
It was like
Ralph's
it was like
dad was married to someone who is.
it was
it's-
like someone's parent was married to the sister of like I don't know.
Yeah, I forget too. It was so tenuous that it's hard to even recite. But then Drew says it's giving fake cousin, which I think I just for some reason cousin in the ether is just so funny. The fact that Courtney and Ralph like lied about this connection.
Right.
Courtney's already so strange.
Right.
And then Courtney like. So then all of a sudden they're talking about this cousin relationship, and Courtney is like, "Yeah, so it's actually interesting how we found out we were cousins. Like we were like sleeping in the same house, and we kind of slept overnight in the same house." And everyone's ears are perking up because everyone is assuming that Ralph and Courtney had
Current
sex.
day.
Everyone is thinking that Ralph and Courtney had sex at some point. The way she's talking about it is really
Right.
strange. She's like, everyone is thinking like, where is she going with this? You can watch Drew being like, "What are you saying?"
right.
She goes. So it's interesting how we found out we were cousins. We slept over in the house for the same night. And everybody's like, "What?" And she goes, and then we started talking about it, and then after that we became fast and furious cousins.
Yeah. Everyone's like, not Fast and Furious cousins.
Candy goes, "Oh Lord, Fast and Furious!" Like everyone is so shocked at the
Like,
term that
the
she's
hell?
saying. Because what everyone is not saying is that they think that Ralph and Courtney, because Ralph is a cheater,
Right.
that they might have had sex and then found out they were cousins. That's like the elephant in the room.
Sick.
And then Andy says, Andy goes, after he says Fast and Furious, he goes, "There is blood there." Like he wants to make sure that they also didn't have
Yeah.
sex, which I think was, I
Yeah.
don't know, it was just so funny.
Yeah.
Like I think Courtney really like stepped in it with that one.
Totally.
Like she had what she wanted to say, and then everything just kind of flopped.
Yeah. Oh man, she's a live wire.
She really is. I don't think though, as much as I enjoyed the cousin stuff, I just don't think she should be back.
Yeah.
She flopped way harder than she brought entertainment.
Yeah. There's a quick rundown of the like Kenya and Marlo DMs.
Yeah,
Thing,
all
like,
that,
whatever.
All that stuff is like too boring.
It was
to
like
get into.
logistics about what happens when you comment on a live
Yeah.
Instagram. I was like, okay.
And then the bitch video, which I never liked, Bitchgate. Where
Yeah.
it was like, did she say bitch or whatever?
Yeah.
That was it's like trying to parse Courtney's cousinhood with
Right.
Ralph. It's like I don't understand it. I don't get what Drew was talking about it. But then they start to get into Courtney, her off camera
Oh, right.
remarks.
Yeah.
Like towards the end.
Yeah.
Where Drew knows what she has wanted to say to Courtney this entire time. It's like she has so much wrath for
Right.
Courtney because
Yeah.
Courtney
Never
didn't know
speak
she
on
was,
my son.
Yes.
That was, and Andy was literally making like an eek face. He was like,
Yeah.
during that whole conversation.
Drew brought it. And
she said that Ralph has been coaching Courtney this whole time,
Yes.
which is bold.
Yep. And then Courtney tries to say, I never spoke on your son. And then Andy specifically says, which I love when he does it.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
truth
like,
teller.
you
He goes,
did.
yes, you did.
Yeah.
And then Drew just gives it to her. This was an uncensored version. Or I watched the uncensored version of
Yeah,
Atlanta.
me too.
And I think they don't curse once, except Drew finally says, fuck. keep my son's name out of your fucking mouth. And that fuck really resonated. Because,
yeah.
I mean, there was no cursing apart from that. It was uncensored, like, from that one fuck.
Totally.
It was great. I have, even though Drew makes mistakes and she lies and all this stuff or whatever, like, I need one more season of Drew
Yeah.
in this era. I think she is such a target for people because she makes herself a target, but I want to see her, like we always talk about, like, unencumbered from Ralph, see what she does, and because there's a lot of merit there.
Totally. Just one quick thing. When Marlo, they give a Marlo minute of like a fashion minute where
Yeah.
she gets to judge everyone for what they're wearing.
Right.
And then she says something bitchy about what Kenya's wearing, and Kenya goes like, "You're the one that looks like Miss Roper from Three's Company," which I felt like was like premeditated for Andy to love.
Yes. She
'Cause
knows
he
exactly.
fucking loved it.
Yeah.
He was like, "Not Miss Roper."
He loved everything. He loved
Yeah.
She News. He loved the bag. He ate a bite out of the plum. Like, he ate a bite out of a
He
plum.
like ran and got it.
Could you imagine? I could never imagine a world where Andy would take a bite out of a fruit
I
that was
know.
thrown.
He was also joking about when Sheree was talking about her birthday dinner and how she was like, you know, she was like, I wouldn't expect him to pay because I invited everyone. And he was like, oh, so you're saying since you invited everyone, you would pay? And she's like, me pay?
Right.
And he was like, oh, I thought that's what you were going to say. And he was like, they were talking about how Sheree owes Drew for the balloons. And Andy's like, I'll Venmo you, Drew, for my girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's getting involved.
That was sweet. A part of me thinks that Andy, might think that the season was a little lackluster. And so,
Well, then what's he going to do at the RHONY reunion? Like freaking acrobatics? He's going to soar through the air like Pink.
you just brought such a wonderful mental image into my mind the minute you said it. The answer is yes.
Pink, get down.
In order to get any kind of entertainment at the RHONY reunion, I think he's going to do gymnastics. Sort of
Fire
like,
breathing.
sort of like, do you remember Batman Forever when they show Robin doing the gymnastics with his family? I think it's going to be sort of similar to that.
Cute. Okay, so next week we get Ralph. We get the sad miscarriage story. We get Sheree bringing more documents.
Whoa.
Drew potentially singing or not singing.
That moment felt really odd and made me really enticed to watch it. They bathed Drew in blue light, like she's gonna have a solo already know performance.
Yeah, he's like, everybody, like he's like, ladies and gentlemen, Drew Sidora, and then she's like, I can't do this.
But we've already seen already know 3 times
know.
on this season.
Maybe she has a new single. I don't know.
What is the precedent though? I mean, I can only remember when Kim got to sing
Oh yeah.
Ring Don't Mean a Thing.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
So like, are they giving Drew the Kim treatment where she gets to have a
But like Ralph is sitting there while she performs potentially.
She was like, I can't do this.
It's insane.
I mean, it looks good.
I'm excited.
I think that just like New Jersey this season, because the cast is just so inherently entertaining and it's in this environment, they all know they need to be ramped up and fun.
Yeah.
And it's just great. Even if you have an uneven season, if you're a great cast, you can just bring it for the reunion.
Totally.
And this was that.
Okay.
They brought it.
You're gonna kill me, but I have to pee before RHONY.
No, I love when we take breaks and pee. But this is an odd pee break, I'll just say, for the
Yeah, I
listener.
know.
We
I
never
can't make
do
it through.
We never do a 2 hour 17, but I think it's because I'm looking at your beverages over there.
I'm double
And I
bevved.
understand. Let's take a quick break and then we're going to talk about dog shit RHONY. We're back. How was it?
Good. I
Good.
feel clear-headed, ready to shit on RHONY again.
Okay, so you concur with me that this was bad. Objectively bad?
Yeah, like I was saying before, when I watched it the second time to take notes, I was truly like, I can't believe I'm watching this again. It's just so dull.
It is so dull. And I mean, just generally, this episode felt like there was 20 minutes of very boring scenes up front.
Yeah.
And then the news starts to spread that that Aaron learns that Jenna is going on the trip 2 days before.
Right.
And then Aaron tells everyone, and they just talk about it for 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
Right? That was like the structure of the episode.
It's very weird. I feel like, first of all, I blinked and missed that they were going on this trip. Like, they spend no time setting up. It's just Sai and Uba go shopping, and there's just a quick moment of Sai saying, like, we should go.
Yeah, like unlike OC, where I don't give a shit how they end up saying they go to Mexico, and I love that they just did it quick.
Yeah.
This one felt too quick because it's like, I know why you guys are going on a trip, but please try to justify it. It makes
it
makes
was
no
weird.
sense. Where are they going?
Anguilla.
Oh, right, Anguilla.
So yeah, Uba is reintroduced because she's been MIA because of COVID.
What's going on with Uba as a cast member? They don't go into her home life at all. I feel like we really don't know anything about her. And then she just had 2 episodes off because of COVID, so that didn't help her at all.
I know. It was weird. When I was watching the show the other day, it was like the intro, Uba's first. She's like, what's the secret ingredient? And she goes, that's me, darling, or whatever. Jimmy walked in and he was like, she's good. I was like, she's not been on the show.
I'm like, when she's on it, when she was in this episode now back, I'm just like, I don't know anything about Uba. And she doesn't really bring a lot. I feel like she's very malleable by the opinions of others.
Everyone likes her.
Yeah, she's just a nice, like, good person, and she seems semi-fun.
Yeah.
But she's not integral to this cast at all.
No.
She's fine almost being a peripheral person. Like,
right.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about her home life.
She should be friend of. She had that brief therapy session where she cried, but that was it.
And I don't know what that was about.
And then we know that her hot sauce was on Oprah's Favorite Things.
Okay.
Which maybe we should do a taste test.
Oh, that would be fun.
Okay.
I would like that.
Cool. Okay, so then they have Jenna and her brother talking. She reveals that she's been working with Rockefeller Center to bring retail food and beverage back to Rockefeller Plaza. Which I was like, what?
Me too. Well, I was like, I take your word for it. I don't know what you're doing, but that sounds good.
Yeah. Also, our friend Lindsay made a good point when either last week or sometime recently we were talking about questioning how rich Jenna was, because I was like, how much could she have possibly made at that like J. Crew job or whatever? But she brought up a good point that she probably was getting major stock the whole time, and then they went public, so she probably got like a massive cash out.
Right, but I wasn't questioning how wealthy Jenna is. I mean,
I was.
You were?
Well, I was just like, she wasn't like the CEO, so I'm just like, it appears that like her apartment is like insane.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
she just seems very rich, and I was just curious about how rich.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. But this scene again, RHONY scenes, for some reason, these RHONY scenes feel very long, not edited. They like give them way too much room to breathe, and usually they're not that interesting. So
right.
It's like, why?
It would usually be more fleeting.
Yes.
Although I did want the details, like, I'm curious about her genetic disorder, and she kind of goes into it, which then plays into stuff that happens later. And then
yeah, I mean,
it's so much gnarlier than I even thought.
Oh, and
like
it makes,
with like the dental stuff.
And it makes all the cast members look so much worse that in the same episode she just gets done detailing this, this disease that she has.
Yeah.
And then they're all commenting on her skin and how she looks and that she needs to go before. Like it just
that
makes
it's
them
an
look,
excuse. Like,
couldn't have been worse.
Her dental work looks horrifying. Like,
I mean, I could barely look at it.
It was crazy, and I was like, dang. And then I started Googling incontinenti pigmenti, and it's like fucked. Like, it's like, I feel bad for her. That sucks. And it sucks that she kind of has to like advocate for herself so much, and they still like won't believe her.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, she's telling you. Like, also the thing that pisses me off about, like, first of all, she was saying like, it's like the Sheena 2.0. It's like she didn't just get like veneers put in, she got like bone grafts and like a sinus lift. I don't even know what that is. Like, it's like gnarly. Right. But anyways, the thing that pisses me off is that who would be mad that someone went on a trip early?
No one normal.
If you came late, I could understand, because you're like, you're missing out, like you're, you know, not whatever. But I'm like, if your friend's like, I'll meet you, I'm going for even more time. I'll be there when you arrive.
It doesn't
What's
make any
the fucking problem?
It doesn't make any sense. In a normal world, no one would talk about it and no one would care. And if they were having fun on their own as normal people would be like, Jenna's here early. Great. Go.
Oh my God. Their like try hard ass text thread where they were like, she loves the D. Like, I was like, this is a nightmare.
Oh, it looks so lame. And the production felt like that was worthy of being up there because it shows this like group camaraderie that doesn't exist at all. I mean, and then Bren got a long scene too with her brother at the same time in LA, right?
Yeah.
They were like hiking or
They're
whatever.
in LA. I guess her brother lives in Seoul. And so they meet in the middle in LA. It was a little interesting because I do find her upbringing, you know, I don't know, it brings some color to her. So it was interesting that her and her brother were talking about how they're both so damaged by that. I also just noted she was crying about how her grandma and her dog died at the same time. And I was like, Ariana pilled.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
She called it a double homicide, which was kind of funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So yeah, we got the double brother scenes. Aaron brings Jenna soup. This is where she goes, I feel like, I don't know. She says she wants to go early so she can get a tan so that her skin looks, you know, even or whatever. And then I couldn't tell. I mean, I agree that she could just own that she doesn't want a flight coach.
Yeah.
Because she did say that.
She said, in addition, or, you know, what it's like, and B, I don't want to, you know, flight coach. But
it's just like, who cares? I'm like, yeah, are you surprised?
And I also think that Jenna Lyons was like trying to be fun and endearing and like let a little bit of what she thinks the show is about, which is like, you know, people who don't want to fly coach. And like when she gave them a little bit of like, I don't know what that is, but a little bit of her personality, like that's something about her. Aaron runs with it and tries to, you know, make everyone, you know, use that against her.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Then there's the Jessel and Pavitt convo that is so weird because it does seem like they are probably operating in a tongue-in-cheek way, but the show's not really playing it like that. Like, you know, he goes, she's like, why are you going to Vietnam? He's like, I need some time to myself.
Oh, right.
And he's like, I'm going to get a banh mi. And he's like, you're about to go to Anguilla. And he's like, why are you going on that? She's like, to spend time with my friends, which is also like funny because it's just because I'm a housewife, bitch.
Right.
And she's like, what are you going to go spend time with a sandwich? Which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And he's going to that far for 3 days, which is very weird. He said he loves flying, so that's part of the fun. And she's like, what am I supposed to do? My mom's not going to be here. And he goes, that's your problem to figure out, which you can tell he's kind of like about to like laugh. And she even says to him, she's like, you're smiling, so I can never tell if you're serious.
Right.
So it seems like they're being tongue in cheek, but it feels like the show is setting him up to be like a demon.
Totally. That's exactly right. Like they have playful bickering or whatever in their relationship where they poke fun at each other and they say stuff like this. And Pavitt is funny.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's got a good sense of humor. But yeah, you're right. They're teeing this up like this is going to be the dissolution of their marriage pretty soon. But they're both, exactly. They're both smiling through this conversation. They both think it's silly. I mean, I want to know actually what he's doing in Vietnam.
It's really weird to go for 3 days.
Right.
Like it's so far.
Do you think he's just like they're just not telling the audience, but he has a specific reason and
like business?
And Jessel knows and he's just, you know, I don't know, maybe there's just something missing from that conversation. Like Jessel must know actually what he's doing. He's not just going to get a sandwich.
Right.
And I'm sure once cameras went down, she's like, okay, what are you really doing in Vietnam?
Right. It's weird.
He was just being silly, I think.
Yeah. It's weird. I need more info.
And then she, in this same scene, she reconsiders, right? Or is that the scene where she reconsiders the green lingerie and says,
right,
actually,
she's going to pack it?
I think that is Jessel saying, don't mind that I complained about this thing in the, you know, in the season premiere. I actually really like this thing and I love every gift that I receive. And this is actually beautiful.
She's like, I've lost some weight. I think it'll look better on me now. And I'm like, that wasn't the problem.
That's not what you said.
Okay, so now they're in Anguilla. The house looks sick. Aaron narcs out Jenna to everyone.
They do a trope of which they have watched on every single franchise where they race to get the best room.
Yeah.
And this was the worst version of that, the most
Yeah.
boring to watch because they're not
Who
fun
cares?
when they're running to the rooms.
Yeah. Everyone's like, ew, oh my God, like hate that about the coach thing.
Right.
Brynn says that she has a hard time getting mad at Jenna because Jenna does the baby voice. And then they showed a montage and I was like, she should stop doing that.
I was very surprised by that because when Brynn said, I start to forgive Jenna whenever she does her baby voice, or she makes fun of her baby voice.
Yeah.
I forget if it was disparaging or not. I was like, Jenna doesn't do a baby voice. Are you mistaking how her voice sounds sometimes?
Roll the clip.
Roll the clip. Why haven't you showed us that Jenna's been doing a baby voice? That's a hero edit.
Yeah.
If I would have known Jenna had been doing a baby voice frequently throughout the season, I would have...
It ended with a clip of her being like, I'm just a baby. I was like,
Producers, if someone does a baby voice, even though I know you want us to like them, you have to include it. Because I rightfully think Brynn and Aaron, everybody would be mad if they said, why have you not captured her recurring baby voice?
Yeah.
That's
weird.
I was a little shocked.
Totally.
Jenna, don't do that baby voice anymore.
It's weird.
It's right. So then the way that when Erin relays the information that she's so happy, the cat that caught the canary, she
Yeah.
loves that she gets to spread this
Yeah.
gossip that Jenna told her in confidence as a friend, thinking that this wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah.
Jenna had every reasonable reason for telling Erin this thing.
Yeah.
And was confiding in her about the coach thing, which
Yeah.
she thinks is fun
Yeah.
and silly. Erin says with no context that this is what this happened, and then you watch them all get fake mad.
Yeah.
All of them build up their fake, inauthentic anger
Right.
at the situation, and they all start feeding off each other like this is indicative of some horrible failing in Jenna's personality. And they start to go, this is just like the gifts that she gives us. This is blah, blah, blah. It's like this
Yeah.
indictment against Jenna
Yeah.
Lyons. This nice
Bryn's like,
person.
everything's a branding opportunity. I just can't take it.
Yeah, and then they're like, that's not the real reason. And then it's like, oh, no, wait. No, if she was going to actually tan, or if it was about the coach thing, then just be real about it. Just say what it actually is. Like, they start to pick apart the way she gave that information.
Right.
Like, anything they can say about this. Then Uba, who's so out of it and doesn't even know, I think, which way the wind is blowing, just goes, Jenna can suck a dick. And it's like, what? What are you talking about?
It was insane.
Like that reaction was just Uba was just feeling the energy of them all creating this fake conflict, and she just said the most egregious thing out of nowhere.
It was bizarre.
Very bizarre. And then they work themselves up into a full fervor, groupthink, like
Yeah.
hatred, and then of course. That's when Jenna comes out.
Yeah.
And it's so awkward. And then Jenna does. I'll give her credit. She got tan.
Yeah.
Right?
Very tan.
Yeah. And then
Wearing like a backless dress. Her skin looked great.
Yeah, and then I will say they lose a lot of their steam.
Yeah.
They are not brave enough to actually tell Jenna immediately up front. Like, they don't give her the full onslaught of their
Right.
anger.
Yeah, and then Jenna gets she does botch her explanation. She could have just been very cut and dry about it, but then she was like, I needed to come early to like get my tan or whatever. She was like, I was going to go before, but then my friend got a puppy, and then she was like,
over-explaining.
it was like too many things, and then everyone was like, just accusing her of being full of shit, basically.
Yeah, and then
she tried to be like, she was like, if I looked like you guys, I wouldn't have had to do this, which
Right.
maybe was slightly dramatic. But then Brynn is like, that's a cop out, and I was just like, girl.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Jenna says another thing, which is very true. Is that she said, I didn't think this would be a big deal. Just
Yeah.
like her leaving Erin's house in the Hamptons to go sleep in her own house when cameras are basically down.
Yeah.
She didn't think it was a big deal. And in any normal circumstances with any friend group in any other environment, this wouldn't be a big deal. But because they are so desperate for something to talk about, they made it a huge deal. And that's
Right.
why it's so inauthentic and fake. And they can't not talk about someone missing because of the lack of entertainment that they're bringing on their own.
Yeah.
Like in OC, for just because it happened this week, Shannon doesn't go to Heather's event.
Yeah.
They talk about it for 1 second only, they go, okay, now we are stop talking about that. We focus on the group that is here. That's the normal way to do it. Talk about it for 1 second, why somebody didn't show up, and then have fun on your own. But they can't.
Yeah. Jenna goes, she says, I never show my skin. Have you ever seen a picture of me on the red carpet showing my skin or whatever? And then Brynn is like, I don't look at pictures of you on the red carpet.
Mean.
And everyone's like, ha ha.
So mean, so unnecessary. Like when she said Aaron's party was just boring. Right
Everyone's
to her face.
so
It's like,
desperate for a clap back that they just react like that was like the greatest thing anyone's ever said.
It was very mean of Brynn to say that.
Yeah. And then, they decide they're going to go to dinner. Jenna describes her room as charming because she definitely got the shittiest room, but it looks fine. And
then don't they try to talk shit about that? Jessel's like, she's only saying charming because that's what you say when you actually hate a room, and she actually hates this, and she hates all of us. And it's like, God damn, give Jenna a goddamn break. She's trying on this show with you guys.
Yeah.
She's the only one that is just behaving natural to herself.
Right. And then Brynn has a guy bring up Aaron's luggage as another little try hard scene, which is weird.
And then Aaron's response to this, which is so inauthentic and lame, she goes, oh, I love Brynn for doing that. And then she remembers that she's in this fake conflict with her, and she has to tell herself out loud. She goes, oh wait, no, actually I don't. I hate Brynn right now. It's like, damn, you just flopped and said that you like the truth. You don't really care about this conflict with Brynn at all.
It's so dumb. And then Jessel and Jenna have kind of a chill conversation about how, Jenna's surprised that it went down like this, and she doesn't know why Brynn has something against her, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then they show the scenes from next week, and literally nothing happens.
Yeah, I didn't even watch them.
So it appears they're gonna have a beach photo shoot, a la Kelly Ben Simone shooting Alex McCord.
Oh. Wait, are they trying to
maybe
have a RHONY moment like that?
Probably. And then there's more talk about Coach.
No,
Jenna going do you really think that I didn't come because I didn't want to fly Coach?
It's not enough that 30 minutes of this episode were dedicated to that. We have to spend more time.
There's more.
Oh my God.
So I was like, that's really Bleak Street that the preview is that bad.
And we're halfway through the season. Oh my God. It's already running on fumes. What the hell are they going to do?
I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll be there to watch it and dissect it and discuss it and talk about it and think about it, for weeks to come. But we have beautiful things, I think, in the future. Salt Lake City was I thought, very powerful. And then Southern Charm is going to hit like a ton of bricks. I'm so excited to talk about Southern Charm with you because we never really got to talk about it.
Oh my gosh.
So it'd be good. So how do you feel about us winding down, saying goodbye to each other, ending this episode in a good spot?
I think it's great. We made it through. I think that the good 3 out of the 4 helped generate some energy for us.
It was nice. I was excited to talk about Salt Lake City. And I liked talking about OC. It was still fun. So this is good. If you like this episode, please let us know because we need any positive feedback. If you have negative feedback, do not send that to us.
Yeah, we also recorded a real doozy of a Patreon that will come out this coming Monday. So if you don't subscribe there yet, you should.
We're talking about the Vanderpump Rules Season 2 finale, the infamous, iconic finale of Vanderpump Rules. If you want to hear our thoughts, you could pay us $5 and just listen to that and then dip out and never see us again. Yeah. But we want you to stay, obviously.
Yeah, I think you'll stay after you see.
Yeah. Okay, well, Amy and I love you so much. And let's say goodbye to our little turtle cuties. And we'll be back next week.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
This one's for you.